Fine.
I'm the legend, I'm Lord Dan Gable.
You suck.
I'm gonna join.
You suck.
Fabulous Moolah.
You suck.
Jim Roberts.
You suck.
Skinny bastard.
You suck.
Hulk Hogan.
You suck.
His puppet. Jimmy Hart.
You suck.
Son of a bitch. Break your rag. Hot with a beer bottle. Fuck your ass. You don't rock it. Break your rag. You're the man. Fuck your ass. I'm the man.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Monday Night Raw. Just about a month after he came back to SmackDown and did one-offs. And then he goes back to his home to work out and give cars away. What's up, guys? This is Legend of Wrestling, episode 8. We're kicking it off. The world has ended. It is 2024, and AEW has stuck in 2023. The world ended last Saturday. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year, Wep. Happy New Year. We got Keith Evans on, one of my good friends in comedy and avid wrestling fan. We've been talking about having him on, and we decided let's talk about it. First episode of 2024. So here we are. We all watched Worlds End, and we all just took in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson returning tonight on Monday Night Raw at the time of this recording. Let's go over that first. Weapon, you said you had something to say about that.
Fuck you! You listen to me, you stupid son of a bitch! Listen. First of all, respect to Intelligent Rock. Can he remember Aaron Sheik in his promo? Very, very intelligent Samoan man. Excellent, excellent. I respect you and your family, and I love you, Baba. But, Jinder Mahal, you're fucking piece of shit, jabroni motherfucker. Can you come on WWF television and you disrespect Aaron Sheik? If Aaron Sheik see you 10 years ago, he suplex you, put you in a camel clutch, break your back, fuck your ass, and then I'll make you to be humble.
All right, there it is. Sheiky, you let them know how you feel about Jinder Mahal, because he...
Fuck the Jinder Mahal. Can he wear the fucking Maharaja portable toilet on his fucking head?
I love it. I love it. Keith, you got to see Sheik now in live and in living color.
Are you okay? So, I'm gonna ask this in all honesty, just before I say my opinion on the Sheik. So you're not white?
No, he's Persian too.
Oh, okay. That I was like, I was like, oh, okay. Is this what we're doing? I mean, I'm down. Like, but, like,
it was good though. It was a good surprise.
Like,
yeah.
No, I'm very bad at telling white people apart. Like, I'm just very bad at, like, I work at a I would not say the name, but I work at a Jewish deli, and that's been blowing my mind since I've been working there.
Yeah.
But one of the things that was said, it was like somebody goes, one of the Jewish guys, he goes, fucking white people. And I looked at him and I was like, but I don't wait. And then I was like, if you guys aren't white, you sure are acting a lot white right now during this whole thing. So, like, I don't.
No, I love it because I get to throw everybody off. I've got cop camouflage, you know.
I like that. Hey, kudos to you. That is a very good thing to have.
Until they look at my license.
Yeah, exactly.
Then the jig is
I can like flick a button inside of me and then suddenly I just lighten up Sammy Sosa style, then like I'm all for it when I need it.
That's right, man. So
break
you got
in case of emergency.
So you got to so this is a regular thing. We get Sheik appearances here and there when we least expect it.
Which I love the Iron Sheik, by the way. Like, I've been following his Twitter for a long time.
Absolutely. Living legend.
Me and my best friend Jake joke about his erect penis when he has Hulk Hogan in the.
Yeah.
We're like, no, man, he's hard. Like he's
I'm
very hard.
excited.
Oh my god. He just had his 40-year anniversary of winning the WWE Championship. Like I think it was like 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah.
They need
Yeah.
to bring him back on a Legends night before he passes.
Oh, he passed.
sure.
Fast.
Oh yeah, did he pass?
Yeah,
When
yeah.
did
He
pass?
what? Yeah, he passed last year. Yeah.
Was
and-
it last year?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was very busy. Sorry. Like, I was very busy.
You're good, man. You're good. No, it's
Now I'm sad.
oh no,
I'm
no,
just
no, no.
learning
Don't
the
be
news in real time. Now I'm like, oh.
That's why we keep him alive on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
At random times, he when I go bipolar, he comes out.
California. But all right.
we actually we were planning on starting this podcast, Legend of Wrestling podcast, to like just to honor the Sheik. Like that was the inception of the idea, and then he actually passed away, and then we got together like we got to start this podcast. Like that's kind of how this whole thing came about. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So
Very nice.
Sheiky baby, he's humbling jabronis right now in the next world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's fine dining right now with some of the great legends that are already up there. But yeah, man. So
Not Chris Benoit, though.
say what?
Not Chris Benoit though. They're
Not Chris.
different players.
We talked about Chris Benoit. He has a whole thing, right? Like right after it happened, there's like a whole video of him, Honky Tonk,
and New Jack.
and New Jack. They're sitting in a hotel room or some sort of house.
He's doing a shoot
That is
interview.
a
And they're
wild
drunk.
group of guys in one room.
They're smoking marijuana and they're drinking and they're giving their thoughts.
I am anti honky tonk man.
Okay.
I was just about to call him honky man. That was about to be a slip, so I apologize for that. But I am anti honky tonk man only based on Ric Flair's opinion of honky tonk man.
Oh, really? What's his opinion?
Ric Flair does not like honky tonk man.
Okay.
He talks shit about him all the time. A lot of guys do. Like, I mean, I don't know him personally, obviously, but I mean, he I've never taken him seriously,
Yeah.
like ever.
Yeah.
So
He's Jerry
so,
King Lawler's cousin. We
He's
found out.
actually his blood cousin.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, you don't want to know my opinions about Jerry King.
Okay, good. I like this. This is what we want to hear, actually.
Actually,
Yeah.
I wasn't hearing it at all.
Yeah, let us have it.
Okay,
Man.
first of all, I think Jerry the King Lawler was always one of the worst people on commentary.
Wow.
I never enjoyed it. All that 14-year-old kids, puppies bullshit. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was 14 watching it, didn't like it. I thought it was goofy.
Yeah.
Then also the underage girls that he's had sex with. I'm just like, you know what?
Fuck, yeah.
Also, he's one of the most, I feel like, in my opinion, one of the most overrated wrestlers in the history of wrestling.
Dang.
Like, yeah, you were champion at your dad's promotion a bunch. And then you came to the WWE, didn't really do anything spectacular. I mean, Brett put him over. He's got that stupid jacket, that stupid crown. I just don't like. I just don't like Jared.
Did you like the angle with Kaufman and him with the whole like he would beat up girls and then
I thought that was like at the time when it happened, and I didn't have my hate for Jerry the King Lawler,
yeah.
but it was more for Andy Kaufman.
Right.
Andy Kaufman was like the star of that whole
Sure.
thing.
Why do you think they love him so much in Memphis?
Because it's Tennessee. I don't know. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of things that they love in Tennessee that's like questionable.
Have you been to Memphis, by the way?
Huh?
Have you been to Memphis, by the way?
I've never been to Memphis.
Let me tell you something. I went there. The last time I went there was the pandemic. It was during the time of the pandemic, and they go so far as to have billboards promoting masks with Jerry the King Lawler on them.
Really?
Yeah.
That is wild.
They used to have a place in Memphis to eat called Lawler's Burgers.
Oh wow.
and it's closed now though.
Okay.
So I'm sure you're happy to hear that. But he still does have his bar. So
I'm sure. Remember that stint on semi-recent WWE where Jerry King Lawler stopped wearing his outfit and we're wearing these weird Ed Hardy
Yes.
Jerry the King Lawler shirts?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Just added to my theory. Like I was like, nah, man. I was like, I just don't. And he's always like, now, like I'll watch like old WWE stuff and I'll be like, every time, like I'll be like enjoying the match and Jerry the King Lawler will say something. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like,
hey, it's the puppies. The puppies.
Yeah. Or he'd be like, I can't believe he got out of that. I was like, you've been in the business for 50 fucking years. You can't believe that this person got out of this. Oh, shut up. Like,
so now
there was a Stu Hart jokes.
Oh, yep.
Oh,
yeah.
He always has hacky jokes and he's always got to get his hacky jokes in. Like I'd be so pissed if Jerry the King Lawler was one of those wrestlers that did comedy.
Yeah.
I'd be mad. I'd be infuriated.
Yes. Listen, I bet you really enjoyed it like how I enjoyed it when ECW 97, 98 and they did that stint before they were actually bought by WWE. And Paul Heyman came in and he let Lawler have it. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Remember that promo?
Yep.
I bet you enjoyed that. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah.
Here's what's better than that. When remember Jerry King Lawler had the heart attack?
Yeah.
On Raw.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
And then Punk made fun of him about it when Punk was doing his long heel run with the belt. Yeah. Like I love that too.
Damn, you got real hate for that guy. That's great.
I love that too.
Well, I guess it's only apropos then we let Iron Sheik tell us how he feels about Jerry the King Lawler.
Fuck the Burger King! Yeah, you are just a punk piece of shit motherfucker. Can you go work in a restaurant and make a French fries? You are not a wrestler. You are not shooter like a champion. You are just a fucking punk work at the fast food restaurant.
Yeah, there you go. Hell yeah, that's it.
Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik.
I'll break your fucking son's back, Brian Christopher.
Yeah, because you guys are up there right now. Oh, I don't know if he's up there, but you're up there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's up there.
Yeah. Oh man. Cool. That's the best intro we've had. Just roasting Jerry the King Lawler out of nowhere. Like an RKO. I loved it. It was good. So yeah, Keith and I are good friends. We've done comedy together. We shared our passion for wrestling. Your roots go back to Chicago as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in Indiana, but like born and raised comedy wise, I'm a Chicago comic.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. We got a great connection to Chicago. This podcast has a great connection to Chicago.
Also, because with the guests that you've
had, like 3 of our guests have been from Chicago. Pratik, he was the inaugural Chicago native that was on, and then we had Jason last week for
Fuck the avocado! You are a fucking piece
Jason
of shit. Can you fucking put Iron Sheik in the avocado fucking episode? Fuck Chad for Eric's.
There you go. Yeah, Sheik had some business to attend to last week, so we just broke down Iron Claw because we had seen it together while he was here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I need to go see that still.
Yeah. It's a great film. Yeah, watch it. No appearance of Chris Wonerick, and you'll see why. But yeah. So, and now you're the third one. The third.
Chicago's a great wrestling city.
Absolutely.
It's a good wrestling city. I've seen some shows. I've been to WrestleMania 21.
Wow.
That was with Triple H and Cena.
Yes.
Headline
yes.
that one.
Yes.
Triple H was kind of in the middle of his turning face.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another just short. I'm gonna keep it short. It's another wrestler that I like very petty hate on. Rey Mysterio won the championship that year. I do not like Rey Mysterio.
No way. Okay.
Oh wow,
I don't
that's the
enjoy
first
him.
that I've heard from
I don't
someone,
enjoy
but-
him. Love Eddie.
Oh,
Love
yes.
Dirty Dom. But
You know, I like
Rey
this.
Mysterio, he's a deadbeat dad. He's a deadbeat dad.
I think you're the only Dom fan out of everyone.
You know, my favorite Rey Mysterio moment is when the NWO was attacking a bunch of people in
They threw him like a
WCW
dart.
early on,
I
and
remember
they
that.
throw him like a dart into the thing. I was like, fuck yeah.
I love this. This is
Like,
becoming
fuck you.
Dark Side of the Ring right now. As we just hate on like, well, Jay,
Minus the Chris
the-
Jericho commentary.
We hate on beloved wrestlers. Beloved wrestlers. I'm just like, eh.
oh yeah.
When I was a kid, I hated Hogan. Hated Hogan the whole time I was a kid.
Now I gotta know. Now I gotta know. Were you a Rock and Austin fan?
I was an Austin fan. I was a Rock fan. I was big, like HBK was always my guy.
Yeah.
Heel
Heel HBK,
but
I
I
bet
like
was
to
more
call
of your
it,
guy.
Shawn Michaels BC and Shawn Michaels AD is a before Christ, after Christ.
Yeah.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
I was like rooting for HBK against Bret Hart, even though I understood Bret Hart was a really great wrestler.
Mhm.
I just love the bravado of,
Yeah.
recently, like HBK was always number one, tied with Ric Flair for me. But as we'll go into talk about AEW, Bryan Danielson is now my number one wrestler of all time.
Damn, that's a good one. I couldn't
He's the
disagree.
number one wrestler of all time.
Yeah, man. He's great.
Also, he's probably the nicest fucking guy.
Absolutely.
He grows vegetables. Like, he grows vegetables and recycles a bunch. Like, I mean, how could you hate on?
Now I know you watch Total Divas because that's where they showed it.
I did for him. When he was on it. I did, definitely.
Oh man, yeah. No, Bryan Danielson is great. The American Dragon. Even with one eye, he's still having amazing matches. So
I think I like him better with one eye.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I think they should bring back remember the blindfold matches that they would randomly do? I think Jake the Snake versus Rick Martel
Yes.
was one early on. I think Cena did one maybe with somebody.
I remember that.
I think they should bring that back. Bryan Danielson versus somebody
I like that.
blindfolded.
I'm in.
Like in an AEW, like that good indie technical style, I think that'd be interesting to see.
Tony Khan, write it down. This is it. Yeah. Take it down and then come on here and tell us about it.
Tony Khan needs to write a lot of things down at this moment. but we'll get into that later.
So with that, it's a great segue. So first of all, let's button up The Rock returning tonight on Raw. And me personally, have not seen the segment yet, but I believe you two have. So what were your thoughts on it? You said you had some. I know you were mentioning earlier, but about Jinder Mahal. But what'd you think of actual like segment with The Rock and Jinder?
Well, when Jinder came out, I knew that it was going to be like a red herring. Like that wasn't the real.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to be the real guy. I mean, yes, he is a former champion. It almost pains me to say it.
Is that how they build it? Like at the top?
At the very top, they said, welcome, a former world champion. They said it just like that.
Yeah.
And then they go into Jinder Mahal. The crowd is just kind of like deadpan. They're like no reaction. And then even like Michael Cole's like, well, I mean, they didn't, he not verbatim, but he almost kind of says like, they didn't lie. I mean, he is a former world champion, and I bet you're happy to see him. And then, of course, Barrett plays it up like, of course, what were you expecting? Like, Jinder Mahal is a wonderful world champion. And I'm like, it's like trying to build it up. Goes into his little shtick about how, like, there's no unity, doing the usual foreigner heel thing, talking his USA mess. And then The Rock shows up.
There it is. And so, what were your thoughts on it, Keith?
Well, to talk about, like, I wasn't sure if they ever, like, how they worded it until I, like, watched the segment.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if they worded it world champion or just former champion, because for a while I thought it might be Andrade, which I guess we can get into that later too.
Yeah.
Like because he like finished up his business or whatever and blah 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 blah. But I was like, probably not. It's probably a world champion. I don't know who it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, The Rock is always a good choice. People are gonna pop for it. I think The Rock is a little stale right now. I think he like relies on. I mean, he did the same verbatim thing with Jinder Mahal that he did with Austin Theory.
Yes.
He showed up like he calls him some hacky name, and then he gets the crowd to say both sides back and forth. Does people elbow? Very basic.
Same thing he's been doing since John Cena.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was no story written. It was just a one-off.
There was no story written until he said the thing at the, well, I guess, I mean, do you
say it. No, spoil it.
Okay.
I want to react organically. Yeah.
So he said the thing at the end, he does people's elbow, and then he says, it was so stupid the way he went into it. He was like,
The Rock is hungry.
After that ass kicking, The Rock is hungry. And The Rock wants to eat, which I thought he was going to bring up something about pie or something like that when he said that. And then he was like, The Rock's going to go to a restaurant. Should he sit in a booth? Should he sit in a bar? Or should he sit at the head of the table? Which I'm like, well, if you're going by yourself, like, I mean, you're going to be at the head of the table, I guess. I don't know. But
you can sit at the head of the table and not even leave your home. You know, you can already do that. It's kind of like a corny way to go into it. Yeah. And then also Jinder Mahal. That's why I went to the little shtick I did. Jinder Mahal went to this thing where he was like, I'm not the Iron Sheik or whatever. And then The Rock came out and put him in his place. He's like, you're right. You're not the Iron Sheik. Because if the Iron Sheik were here, he would be saying, Rock Bubba, who is this jabroni son of a bitch bastard?
I love it. Yeah, I know Rock was, he was like essentially raised by the Sheik. So he like looked up to the Sheik. He got a lot of his catch.
Did you guys watch The Rock, Young Rock?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of seasons. I haven't. I need to catch up. So he's hinting at.
It's a fun show.
It is a good show. Yeah, it's a great
fun show. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's funny because he's hinting obviously at Roman Reigns. So my thing is so Weapon, myself, and Pratik actually have had this ongoing dialogue about what's the storyline going into WrestleMania. So like, what is going to happen with his opponent? We've put a few names out there as a formidable opponent, and my thing is
formidable opponent for The Rock
for Roman. No, Rock was an option. Okay. Rock was an option.
Right.
Right. And we were saying my thoughts on this was, first of all, Roman is going to drop the belts at WrestleMania 40. I think.
Don't be so sure. Don't be so sure.
You know that's fair.
We thought that last year. Like we knew it. We knew it was happening last year, and it did not. Right. And it was just like, what? Like so. Well, and I think the whole thing too is if he holds it past WrestleMania, then if he gets to SummerSlam and defends the belt and wins, then he beats Hogan's record, which they could be shooting for that. Like they could.
I know, but to me, records are kind of stupid in wrestling because they decide. Like it's not like
they are
right,
but that's what they've been pushing.
Yeah,
this past few years, like that's with not only him, with Gunther and with
they just got to get the most out of their bucks with this run that they've had with Roman, and I feel like from like shortly after 39. He got a little bit of an injury, and then he was just off TV for a minute, right? And then he came back, and he comes back every like couple weeks, and it's just become this stale. And like the bloodline, it's
really stale.
It's really stale. The bloodline has become really stale. I mean, main event Jay is out. He's doing his own thing, and it's like,
and the bloodline storyline peaked with Sammy for me.
What happened?
I said the Bloodline storyline peaked with Sammy. For
Absolutely.
me.
Absolutely.
That was the highest it could go.
Yes.
It
And
should have been
then-
done last year at WrestleMania, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But since they extended it,
Yeah.
they had an opportunity to capitalize at SummerSlam,
Hmm.
and they dropped the ball on that too. I think it's just now there's very little that they can do with Roman because they've literally fed him everybody they could possibly feed him. And even at this point, like when you're talking about debating like somebody like The Rock,
Yeah.
well, The Rock's not at the company long term. Why would you like do what Vince usually does and have him lose to like a part timer for a bit?
Well, listen, we say that, but it's literally happened with The Rock before. He beat Punk. He ended Punk's reign, and then Punk went into his program with Taker, and then he left the company and Royal Rumble.
I mean, The
And then
Rock
what-
was
what do you-
transitional. He only held the thing for like 2 months.
Fair, that's fair, but I'm saying there's nothing. I mean, that's not out of the.
It's not out of the
realms
question.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm saying what, in the context of like setting a new precedent and being in this new era where Triple H is kind of at control of the helm
Yeah.
and trying to, basically set his own lane.
Yes.
Like, what purpose does it serve to copy Vince?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like
True.
that's
True.
that's one of the reasons why the Roman Reigns era has lasted so long, because with Vince he had the Bruno and he had the Hogan, and those were like his legacy champions, and he had Backlund
True.
too. Like I mean,
Yeah.
even though that's a carryover from his father, those two were kind of carryovers from their father. It's like each of them had their like legacy champion
Absolutely.
that lasted for a while, and then everybody kind of within that generational influx of talent followed up on that. Roman is supposed to serve as Tripp's generational, and as far as like
Right.
the Intercontinental, so is Gunther.
Yes. So this is exactly why I was thinking this. Obviously, Rock is teasing that he's going to be there. So if they follow through with that, that's fine. But I've been strongly supportive of Damian Priest cashing in at Mania and on Roman. On that match. Whatever they do, I think whoever's his opponent doesn't ultimately matter because
Well,
I
I
think
think if you go with that idea, which I don't hate that idea, then I feel like it would benefit the story for Cody to beat Roman and then Damian Priest immediately cash in on him. So like
okay.
Cody gets the win, but now everything is messed up for him. He's got more adversity or whatever
Yeah.
said,
He completes his story, but then he has a new story right after he gets robbed.
Right.
Kind of like
Right.
Rated R Superstar. What happened to him?
Right. Now, if you put The
yeah.
Rock in put The Rock in Elimination Chamber, I'm okay with that. That way, number one, he doesn't have to wrestle a whole match, just him and somebody else.
Yeah.
It's Elimination Chamber. You can make it where it's like it's all these different guys. There's him, Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, and then somebody else.
CM,
And
maybe
then,
Punk. Yeah.
Have him, The Rock, go to the end, make it seem close, but then Roman wins, and then goes on to WrestleMania, faces Cody. Damian Priest cashes in. Boom.
So my only thing about that is that's diminishing Cody 2 years in a row that people are behind for him to win this shit.
But at least he won it. Like, at least this time he wins it.
Yeah. But
And then, like
Yeah.
you said, he has because I mean, come on, like if Damian Priest will hold it, but I mean, eventually if they do like a 3-match arc or whatever,
Yeah.
Cody will win it back.
Sure. Okay.
And then he'll be 2-time champion at that point.
To start a program.
then-
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Money in the Bank case protects him,
Right.
because what ultimately happens is he won a straight up one-on-one match. He got put over Roman, but he's so tired and beaten up that if Damian Priest were to cash in, it protects him. It's not he didn't lose. He didn't lose clean,
Mm-hmm.
or even if it's clean, it's because he's not in any shape to defend it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Right. I don't know. I think that's the best way to do it, but who knows?
We'll see. We'll see. I
The
think.
Rock will win the championship and then
Yeah.
be there part-time as well. And then, I don't know.
And then there's the other side of it, right? The Royal Rumble winner and who he goes after.
I think before you get into the Royal Rumble, I think the best scenario would be if Cody were to complete the story, that The Rock has something to do with it. Like he interjects because he feels that like the family no longer needs that head of the table. That sets up a program for a one-off after WrestleMania with The Rock and Roman. It still continues, and it still allows them to move forward with a Priest and Cody Rhodes angle. And you've written 2 matches in there.
Yeah.
I'm
True.
into that. I dig that. It's intriguing for sure. I mean, it's got us talking about it, this far ahead of Mania. So
I mean, that's how The Miz maintained, right?
yeah,
I mean, The Rock got involved, and John Cena lost.
that's right. That's 100%.
True.
And then and then on the Royal Rumble side, Punk has already said he's in it, and he's gonna. Cody's also said he's in it. So I think it makes sense if with this story angle that Punk wins the Rumble, goes after Seth because they got their rivalry. So then I guess that culminating at Mania. We'll see. I just don't. I don't like. So the way your unique opinion on Rey Mysterio is how I feel about Seth. I don't care for Seth.
Okay.
I don't like the persona. My favorite Seth, if I had to choose one, was turning on Shield Seth. That was the best Seth Rollins I could.
Yeah, that was probably the best Seth.
Yeah,
I think the Seth that remember when he had that religion or whatever. He had that church.
He was the cult leader.
Yes, that was a good one.
Buddy Murphy was part of it.
Yeah.
Austin Theory was like part of it, like very quickly.
Right.
But also that was during the pandemic, so that could have been something different if he had done that like in front of a crowd. I enjoyed it. Like it was one of the few things I enjoyed during pandemic times.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I enjoyed the eye for an eye match. I was like, nobody's gonna rip anybody's eye out.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know if Daniel Bryan there, they could have done that.
Right.
It would have been probably amazing.
That's true. Yeah. And Buddy Murphy started macking with Rey Mysterio's daughter, and then he ended up in AEW. So
where he's in AEW, and now his wife is macking on Rey Mysterio's son.
That's so true. Wow, look at that.
Interesting past. Yeah.
Yeah. Ray, it's all Ray's fault. He's the deadbeat dad. So.
Yes.
See, Rey Mysterio causing problems wherever he goes.
100%. There we go. Ray has been a heel this whole time. We didn't even know.
Didn't Rey Mysterio
Ray's
kill
like
somebody?
the Karate Kid.
Did Ray kill somebody?
Yeah, he did.
Did somebody die in the ring
Well,
wrestling
He
Rey
didn't
Mysterio?
technically kill him. They found
Yeah,
that
he
he
didn't
didn't kill
do
him.
it.
But during the match, when he was wrestling somebody, a person died in the ring.
Who was? Now I'm trying.
And Pero Aguayo Jr. in like AAA.
Was it AAA or was it? Like,
Yeah. Isn't that funny how WWE never brings that up? No. Of course not. Yeah.
Of course not, or else he would be in like the Benoit.
It's so funny if Dominic brought that up in a promo.
Listen,
I would have lost my shit.
I need Dom is getting the heat.
He should if Paige was able to bring up Reed Flair.
Yes. Which obviously they cut that in because I think Ric Flair got involved with that and he wasn't a fan of that. But anyway, yeah. I want Dom to really assume this position of heel. Like right now, he's bitching about the booze, but he should embrace it. Kind of like Christian Cage is doing in AEW. Like he
should grow a beard.
Oh yeah, I don't even think Ray can grow a beard, but
Ray can't grow his legs.
Damn. Hell yeah, let's go.
King,
all right.
Rey Mysterio versus Keith Evans, roast battle, Southern California. Let's go.
I'll take the L. I'll take the L. Like I'll put him over because that's what the fans want. That'll make it for a good show. But I'm gonna Yeah, I'm gonna get in there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dummy.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Mhm.
AEW Worlds End. Let's get into it. And by the way, like and subscribe to this podcast on YouTube and anywhere you take in your podcast. And comment. Let us know what you think with the Rock angle and how it's going to culminate and where it'll culminate. Is it Elimination Chamber? Is it Mania? Is it what's going to be this stipulation?
Is it in the final Fast and Furious movie?
There is no final Fast and Furious movie.
There's never a final Fast and Furious movie. It will always be.
Yeah.
It will always be.
100%. So yeah, subscribe and so yeah, here we go. AEW Worlds End. Just talking about it as a whole, I think it did well. I think it did. They definitely pulled on some of my heartstrings at some points of that pay-per-view, especially during the Adam Copeland Christian Cage match. I thought that stole the show. I thought that was the best match, in my humble opinion. But overall, I thought it wasn't their best pay-per-view they've had, but I think it was the best way they could have ended the year with their company.
I can tell you and I are going to have some differing opinions.
All right, that's why this podcast works, because we don't agree on things. But Keith, what's your overall opinion?
My overall opinion of the show, I thought it was. I mean, clearly the show was resting on the Devil storyline.
Yeah.
Clearly that was the end goal of it. So like it wasn't a wrestle dream. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like that. I think AEW is doing this thing sometimes now where like one show they'll have where it's just banger after banger after banger after banger of wrestling. And then some shows they lean into the sports entertainment more. And obviously I would say like if you're talking tribalism, AEW doesn't do sports entertainment as well as WWE, but who's going to? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I prefer it when their pay-per-views are all out, Wrestle Dream, all in, like that sort of, you know, indie just wrestling feel to it.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes them the alternative.
Yeah.
I feel like. But as far as like telling a story, like, and I mean, I know we'll get into it. I think me and you talked about this before. What happened at the end, that's not what I wanted to happen because it was the most obvious choice.
Yeah.
I thought the way they presented it was good, but I thought that how long it took to get to this overshadowed how good they presented it. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
You know what I'm like? I just feel like, you know, I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, like, you know, Adam Cole's.
Adam Cole, baby. Yeah, everyone's seen it by now. But yeah.
I called it.
The way they did that, like one moment when the lights go out and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He's revealed at it. That was cool.
Yeah.
But still, like, everything kind of leading up to it, how the story kind of dragged a little bit. You know, I felt that way. You know, my choice for the Devil was Matt Cardona.
Right.
I thought
right.
the New York crowd would have lost their shit. It was Matt Cardona.
I agree.
And I thought that would have been like a good thing, like, oh, the other Long Island guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, like doing that whole thing with him and MJF, I thought that would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
And with Matt Cardona, it could have still been Roddy and Wardlow and the Kingdom. Like, but Matt Cardona being it, like, I feel like it would have went. And then, you know, if he gets in AEW, then he's got a program waiting for him with Edge eventually.
Yeah.
You know, like but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd give the pay-per-view overall a 3.5, maybe
3.5 out of
or 3 out of 5.
Out of 5. Okay.
Yeah. So like a strong C.
Yeah.
Strong C, real low B.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that we'll get into it. I thought the swerve match.
That was also, yeah.
Here's my thing about that. If we want to talk about that right now.
No, let's get into it. But I just want to real quickly because Weapon, Weapon predicted. So since let's start at the biggest moment that they were working towards, which was who the Devil was. Which, by the way, I think they've changed who they wanted to be the Devil like 5 times throughout this storyline. I don't think they were set on Adam Cole being the Devil the whole time. The reason for that is because he got hurt, and I think when they were tag teaming and they were getting the fans' approvals, I think they were going to continue that run. But once he got injured with the ankle, I personally thought, since Adam Cole's like always on Zoom and on these angles, and he was like being a fan, I thought if they're going to, because Weapon said it was going to be Adam Cole, and he was right. However, I was saying it should be Britt Baker. I think I told you. I was like, that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that would have been another angle that would have made sense, right? It's like, because Britt's been off TV. She's not injured. She's just helped taking care of Adam. But for her to come in and be the Devil, no one would have expected that, I feel. And I just thought it would have made sense storyline-wise. Just like Cardona would have made sense, too, because of the Long Island connection. But I feel like they didn't go with Cardona because that would have only been hot for New York and where the pay-per-view was. I feel like maybe unless they built him properly as a heel.
I mean, is it Eddie Kingston winning only hot for New York? like what? Like,
Well,
that's fair.
Like,
That's
problem
fair.
with Cardona
Yeah.
is Cardona doesn't have a lot of good. It doesn't have a lot of good. I don't want to say energy, but more like I don't want to say reputation because he is, well liked among wrestlers. But Matt Cardona was basically, to put it in simple terms, was responsible for the fiasco about why like NWA couldn't land a TV deal. He's involved with that disaster of a pay-per-view, and he wasn't well received at that pay-per-view either.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that because of those receptions, that they didn't want to move forward with somebody with at this point has kind of a lack of a buzz at this point.
I could see that.
Okay.
I could see that. I think, yeah.
Just from the corporate side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a personal opinion.
And also,
Right.
I know Weapon is in love with TNA and he wants TNA wrestling to be represented
Oh, you
better.
mean like Impact Graveyard Wrestling?
Yeah, we've had this ongoing thing with TNA that's never become TNA, but they advertised TNA like 2
Well,
months ago.
it is now.
Is it now?
It is
They-
officially
Oh, yeah. It's back to
TNA
TNA
Wrestling
now.
as of today.
Oh, yeah, because of the new year. All right,
Yeah,
nice.
As of today.
So then we can chant TNA and it makes sense finally. All right, cool. Yeah. So
It still doesn't make sense to me because I don't know if they should exist.
bring Dixie Carter back.
nonstop.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So Cardona, I see both takes on that. And then you talk about Eddie Kingston winning, but Eddie Kingston winning, I feel like that was more him paying.
I mean, that's I exaggerated that because Eddie, like a lot of people do like Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
I have grown to like Eddie Kingston. I used to like during his Shakara days and all that. I was like, fuck Eddie Kingston. But I've grown to respect him.
Yeah.
And like just like his emulation of a lot of the like Japanese style that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And then this long building story, him finally he beat everybody in the BBC or BCC now, not the BBC, but the BCC.
Yeah. That's a different match. Yeah.
Way different match. Flash Funk. Anyway, they say Flash Funk has a huge dick. Like that's what I've heard
Too
this.
cold Scorpio.
Old Scorpio. Yeah, so the Eddie Kingston story, that was a good wrap up to that.
Yeah.
Him winning the Triple Crown. The C2 was great for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Like I loved it all the way through.
Yeah.
I assumed Daniel Bryan was going to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or Bryan Danielson, sorry.
Right. Two different people. Yeah.
Two different people.
Yeah. One of them has two
somebody
eyes.
told me the other day, they said Daniel Bryan was greater than Bryan Danielson. And I was like, there would be no Daniel Bryan if Bryan Danielson didn't exist.
100%.
And the Bryan Danielson we got now would not exist if not for Daniel Bryan. So it's a full circle.
That's
with him,
it.
I feel like.
And Daniel Bryan would not exist without Brie Bella. So you know what I mean? That's another. No, I'm kidding. Well, his kids wouldn't exist. But yeah. So I think Adam Cole, if they were going to go with Adam Cole, the way they presented it, I thought was pretty well done. I like Adam Cole's conviction as the side, the supporter by the ring, as MJF was having his match and being the underdog. They ended it weird though. That match ended so weird.
I'm gonna get into that when we finally run down that.
Yeah, so let's get into it officially. Okay, so let's go through the card from 0 hour on, and then we'll wrap up with this topic that we just discussed. So first match on the 0 hour portion of the pay-per-view was Willow Nightingale defeating Chris Statlander. And my source right now is Bleacher Report, so I'm looking at that as what they've graded these matches, and then we'll go over our thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll agree. I mean, disagree with Bleacher Report. I usually do. So
yeah, you do. Yeah. Bleacher Reporters are jabronis as far as what Sheik is concerned. So yeah, I thought it was the right match for two New York female wrestlers to start it off, kind of get the crowd into it.
Are they both from New York?
That's what they billed it as. I think Tony Schiavone mentioned that. Yeah. He's like he said two Long Island or two New York.
I'm going to be reacting to the 0 hour too in a weird way because I did not see the 0 hour.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so
I just saw the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
I knew what the matches were. I had predictions for who was going to win those matches. I know the basic story, like Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. I know Stokely Carmichael was out on commentary.
Unfortunately,
trying to trying to build up like beef between them because they it was supposed to be a friendly match going in.
Right. There wasn't really a clear heel or face, I don't think, in the match. Obviously, different weight classes between the two, and Willow took the.
I don't know.
You don't think they're different weight classes?
I don't. I think they're both.
Different body types.
Different body types.
Different body types, yes. But Chris Statlander's a big girl.
Yeah.
And so
Chris Statlander, she's pretty thick.
Yeah.
She's a big girl.
Yeah, she's tall, right?
No, sure.
Tall. Tall.
So it evens out, you
she's
think?
Like Bianca Belair size, right? Like she's big, like as far as like not the tone of it.
Right.
Yeah, like if they faced off, it would be even. So
body styles then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can I can take that. So
like a taller Victoria, like in terms of body type.
Yeah.
So
she is taller.
Yeah, she is. So Willow Nightingale hit the Dr. Bomb for the win. But yeah, it was a pretty safe match in my opinion.
I didn't like the match.
You didn't like the match. What did you give it? So Bleacher Report is giving it letter grades. We can do that, or we can do the out of 5, like you said, Keith.
It doesn't matter to me. But I'll give you my analysis.
Let's do it here
because I watched the match.
Yeah.
Okay, so this match had probably at least 4 botched moves, and really terribly botched moves.
I remember one. Yeah.
Yeah. One that I actually was genuinely concerned for Chris Statlander because it looked like Willow nearly dropped her on her freaking head.
I saw that, yeah.
It kind of resembled like Big Show and Kevin Nash, the way that she landed on her head. Fortunately, nobody got hurt. I'm sorry, what did you ask?
Well, I'm sorry. I was asking what was the move?
It was a variation of a powerbomb.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Not
okay.
like obviously not the jackknife powerbomb like in the Kevin Nash
Right.
situation. It was more of like a sit down, but her grip slipped.
Yeah.
It clearly
Oh.
slipped, and
Ugh.
that was like one of the major ones. But there is at least this match was Botch Mania. If you really watched it and you know what you're looking for, it kind of belongs in one of those Botch Mania reels they got on YouTube. As far as storyline is concerned, nobody really cares about the storylines that take place in Dark, and no one follows them.
0 hour.
0 hour. No, 0 hour because that's the extension.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
most of those rivalries usually are rooted in somewhere
Right.
dark or like deep into the dark annals of ROH, not like their top rivalries.
Yeah.
So- And then so the match itself, like I have nothing against both competitors. I think they're fine pro wrestlers. The one thing I didn't like also is that it seems like now the company has lost faith in Chris Statlander and is burying her. Here's a woman who literally not once but twice beat the almost nearly unbeatable with big buzz Jade Cargill,
Cargill, yeah.
going to losing her title and now like losing these matches that clearly it looks like she should be more competitive in.
Damn.
And I feel like, and now we're talking about somebody who in the last pay-per-view was defending her title like in a triple threat.
Mhm.
Who the winner of that triple threat, who later you'll see in this pay-per-view, is at least getting decent billing.
Yes.
And now we have Chris Statlander, who's infinitely more talented and experienced, getting buried, in 0 hour.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. And the last thing, I can't stand Stokely Hathaway or the jokes that that corny Nigel McGuinness makes on commentary about his sister being Anne.
Yeah. Well, Adam Copeland spoke for all of us
His
when
sister being what?
Like he always makes jokes about Stokely Hathaway's sister being Anne, as in Anne Hathaway, the actress. It's like corny as hell.
Oh, corny,
and,
yeah.
and they always keep it going, and it never stops.
Yeah.
My issue with Nigel McGuinness is ongoing.
Yeah.
And so like,
Oh no!
We've had this discussion before.
I was very happy when Adam Copeland told him to shut up.
Yeah, because
so.
later he did. Yeah.
I feel like I feel like because there's something that I really wanted to happen with Nigel McGuinness, that I have his back a lot.
Okay.
As a wrestler, you can have his back. As a commentator, I have a problem with him.
Yeah.
I've loved his ongoing. He would kind of go heel commentator on Bryan Danielson every time he wrestles, and to me, in my heart of hearts, I want Bryan Danielson's final match in Wembley to be against Nigel McGuinness. Just because of the whole history of them with WWE and not to have another WWE based storyline in AEW.
Yeah.
But they also have the Ring of Honor history and all that kind of stuff. And I was hoping that. With that said though, yes, Nigel McGuinness can be corny at times for sure on commentary. It would be funny to see a show commentated by Wade Barrett and Nigel McGuinness.
That would be
That would be.
I'm afraid I have some bad news. You're fired, Nigel.
Yeah, I love that. Maybe they could. I was saying they could put him. They could put him on NXT UK real quick, but because no one watches.
As far as
Wasn't he on there real quick? Actually,
yeah, he was. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm saying the two of them at the same time. But
as far as Chris Statlander goes, though, I do agree with you. I feel like they immediately turned their back on Chris Statlander for Julia Hart, just because there was that, and for some reason they've been having trouble focusing on multiple female wrestlers at once. So they just went with Julia Hart, and it was weird. She won in that triple threat, but then there was never a rematch. a one-on-one between Chris. If you're going to give it to Julia Hart, have her solidify that win with beating Chris Statlander in a one-on-one match. But it just like kind of split off and then never happened. And like, you're right. Chris Statlander is so talented and so good and deserves better.
I wonder what. I wonder what.
I don't feel like her heart was even in this match. It was just like,
yeah,
I really got delegated to this status. Okay, I'm just gonna go through the motions.
But I also like Willow Nightingale. Like I also like enjoy her normally. Like I enjoyed when they kind of were building her up. I enjoyed like what was supposed to happen with the whole like Sasha Banks thing. With that, and then that kind of just stopped in its tracks. I mean, obviously it was because Sasha got injured.
Right. Right.
But I don't know, like, yeah, it sounds like that was just kind of a match that they put together. I mean, sometimes AEW does that.
Yeah, they're both very talented.
I mean, a lot in this pay-per-view too, where some matches were just kind of like thrown together. Some matches were like made and then they had to switch people in it. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But
yeah. There was injuries. There was the doctor clearance issues. So Bleacher Report, if it matters or not, they gave this match a B+. I know, Keith, you didn't actually see this match, but based on what we've discussed, I think I don't think I'd give it a B+. I'd probably give it more of a C- at best. And just because of the poor attempts on some of the moves that didn't go through. And like you said, Chris Statlander's heart wasn't really in it.
I think both of them, honestly. That's why, like I said, two very talented wrestlers have no problem with either one of them.
Yeah.
I just felt like neither one of it was feeling them. They were going through the motions and being really sloppy.
So what do you give it? What grade?
I'm with you on this one.
C-?
C-, yes.
All right. We'll get your grades on the matches you've seen. So unless you want to give a grade, it's up to you. But
no, I mean, I don't want to give a grade to a match I haven't seen.
Yeah. I think the fact
but
that
I mean, from what I hear, not great.
Right.
Like, from what I've heard, not great.
I think the fact that I'm not as mad as putting Chris Statlander on this first match in 0 Hour. I think the fact that they had her take the L, I think there might be some other backstage potential issues that we haven't been previewed to.
There's backstage issues in AEW? What? That's crazy.
Tony Khan still has
crazy.
the neck marks. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Hashtag real glass? What? Like, what is that?
I love it.
Problem?
Yeah. Who was it who said yeah, we'll get into it. Let's keep going.
They got to take out all the backtage issues in this next one, in the 20-man battle royal.
Oh man, so the 20-man battle royal, I feel like this was put together. This was the next match, and this actually had the results of this match being that Kill Switch defeated the 19 other competitors, and he held the contract for anywhere, anytime. Basically, it's their version of Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, when did Luchasaurus become Kill Switch? We can talk about that as well.
It was a few weeks ago.
It was a few weeks ago. I guess I missed it. I missed when
when Nick Wayne became the Prodigy, because they were both failures and they were given new names to erase their failures.
From their father.
Yeah.
From their father.
Oh,
Their father
right.
bestowed to them new names.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, I like Kill Switch as a name. It's
because he named him after his move.
Right. I liked it. I just didn't see the entire storyline reveal.
I feel like if when they named him Kill Switch though, it would have been kind of cool if they modified his look.
Yes, I agree.
Like they could have kept the mask and kept like his basic like.
They kept the mask, but they changed the color.
Futuristically or something like that. I don't know.
But they did that when he became heel.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like they could have changed the design of the mask.
Yeah. Or that's fair.
Yeah, instead of looking less like a dinosaur.
Right.
Like it looked like a,
because he's no longer Kill Switch is not the name of a dinosaur.
Well, not this one.
I mean, I guess like maybe an Autobot, a Decepticon, a dinosaur, maybe. But yeah.
Anyway, the Lance Archer was in this match. He's been pushed down to the bottom for sure. He was like one of their top heels that they were working on a couple years ago.
He needs to leave the company.
Yeah, well,
and I don't say that in a bad way.
Yeah,
I say that sometimes because when a wrestler has no purpose within the company and he's not being used and his stock goes down because he's not being used, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
And Lance Archer is one of those people that could actually be used elsewhere and needs to leave the company.
And I was a fan of him and Jake the Snake kind of being his mentor. I like that. I don't know what happened that I mean, there is a point where you have too many talent on a roster where you don't, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having them. When you can't keep making new shows to fit all these people in. Like you just gotta have, you know what I mean? Like I understand Collision was like CM Punk's show, then he just, and I'm a fan of.
I have a huge opinion about that, but that's for a later date.
Okay. For sure.
The frustration with a lot of the issues with AEW is that they're easily fixed, but they're backstage bookers and the people that put together the storylines and stuff is so discombobulated.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like anybody's in charge.
Yeah,
yes,
that's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's what I was saying. Tony needs to be more of an owner than a wrestler's friend.
Right.
Instead of a mark.
Yeah, tell him, MJF. Right. But yeah. Anyway, so Killswitch took this. So then he becomes eligible to cash in for the TNT title. I don't know if it was exclusive to the TNT title only, or if it was open to any title. I don't
think I remember if that was clear to me yet or not either.
Yeah,
but, I'll say this about the match: the match itself was probably hot garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, like it was all over the place. There were points where you didn't even care who was going to win or not.
Yeah.
But I say, if I were to judge it solely just on match performance, people in the ring, and so forth. Now, what it served in the overall bigger picture of things, is that to me gives it a higher grade.
I respectfully, I get your take on it. I just respectfully disagree that if they were going to do that, I feel like they rushed it, and it was like a storyline they needed to reveal quick so that it could come back later in the future match.
Well, there's a purpose to this. They wanted the whole point, and we'll get to that match just shortly.
Yeah.
But the short version of it is Adam Copeland had to go over in this match.
I know.
But they couldn't end the storyline that is literally carrying the company so quickly.
Yeah.
So they needed to make him look strong. Well, at the same time, we were just talking about this with the WWE and what they would do with Priest and Cody.
Yeah.
They needed to extend this storyline a little longer because the Devil one is, transitioning. It's still there, but MJF may or may not be on screen for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So they need something that's going to push the company. Those are the two hottest storylines. So they needed that out in order to keep Copeland looking good, but at the same time, have it so they can extend towards another match.
I get that. So with that said,
Agreed.
Keith, what did you get to see this battle royal?
So I didn't see the match. I have watched a few reviews of the match.
Okay.
I know like what happened. I know it kind of started off with Killswitch and Lance Archer, and then everybody, they buried them, and then they came back.
Yeah.
I know there was a spot with Danhausen.
Yep.
That the crowd completely hated. I heard that, and then obviously Killswitch wins, and obviously I agree with the idea of the bigger picture. I feel like it probably could have been a match not on the 0 hour, maybe on the Dynamite before it.
Yes.
So that way it gives it that time to breathe, and like maybe even, I mean, I don't think.
Agreed. I agree with you.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think anybody maybe even had that match in mind when the Christian and Edge match was going on.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you gave, like you said, if you gave that just a little more time to breathe instead of it being so sudden. And I don't know if it was strictly for the TNT title. I feel like it kind of better be for the sake of the story, because it's like, oh, if you had a chance to go for the world title, why would you give that up? Like, in the grand scheme of like kayfabe and like the whole thing of what wrestling is.
Right. So when you're mentioning this, I am reminded of I can't remember who was announcing or who mentioned this on commentary, but once Killswitch won, it says Killswitch wins, and he was the only wrestler in this battle royal that had won the TNT title before, and he mentioned that now he's eligible to cash in to become a two-time or whatever number of times.
Which again was a giveaway.
Of course.
They already gave it away if you were paying attention.
Yes.
Which
Right.
that's
Yes.
kind
Right.
of, I didn't like that part at all.
Right.
I agree with you. It should have been on a Dynamite, to be honest.
And the
Now that
stipulations
that's
of that contract should have been revealed more clearly.
I'm just,
Yeah.
judging
Yeah.
it based on the fact that it did end up on this show, but
Yeah.
it probably should have ended up on a Dynamite. And
Because if it was on a Dynamite, they could have built more tension between Christian and Killswitch about it.
Yep.
And then it maybe would have added to the long run of the story.
it would have posed the question instead of making it so obvious.
Right.
Is he actually going to turn on Christian, or is he going to give it to him? Because remember, even even during the Nick Wayne segment a couple of weeks back, they did tease that tension when he almost refused to hit
Mhm. Yeah.
Nick Wayne's mother with the chair.
Yeah.
They could have continued
Yeah.
with that, but that's what I'm saying. We were all actually saying it in
Yeah,
regards
yeah.
to TNA story. I mean, sorry, it looks like a TNA.
I knew you loved TNA, bro. Just say it, bro.
AEW storylines, they definitely need work.
You have American nightmares about TNA, I feel. but yeah, so with all that said, I think I don't know. Bleacher Report grades it as a C+. I'd probably say the same, just because of the stipulation and how it was revealed, and it was kind of like shaky.
The overall picture, I'm gonna make this a two-part. The overall picture, I'll just give it a C minus. The match itself was an F.
Yeah, the match itself was absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean,
that's my first step on the show.
You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there, and Keith, we'd love to have you back for this episode. But my idea was let's have an episode and just talk about the best battle royals that have ever taken place, battle royals / Royal Rumbles that have.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's a good episode. We can just go in the vault and check out.
I have opinions on that.
Yeah. That could be a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Again, everyone watching, comment. Let us know what your opinions were on these matches. So you didn't see this one, so we can move over now to, I think this is the first match of the card.
No, this was still in 0.
This was still 0 hour.
Oh, yeah. Still 0. Hook versus...
This was a good match. I like this match.
Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, Hook versus Wheeler Yuta FTW Championship. It's in Hook's backyard. Taz was on commentary, which was... It gave it a good feel, and
Nigel McGuinness had to say his corny shit yet again.
I liked. I'll tell you what I did like about this match from the match itself, and also commentary and Taz's angle on all of this. I liked how Taz refuses to just cheer on his son in these matches, and he's very. I like that he's very. He's like. He gives Hook the credit. He's like, Hook is doing it.
Unbiased as he could be.
Exactly.
He lets Hook be a man storyline too, because when you're watching it, he doesn't say, oh, every time his son's getting hit, he's just like, oh, it's a part of the business.
It's part of the business, yeah.
And he gives the opponents credit when they hit hit Hook with good moves.
Yeah. And I like that. And I like that Hook's finisher, Red Rum, is very similar, obviously, to the Taz mission, but he doesn't call it that, which is also.
Right. I don't even know if I'm saying that.
No,
right,
it's fine. I don't even know if I said Taz mission correctly. Yeah.
Over and over and over again. It's great.
So Wheeler Yuta, in this match, he got on the mic and started talking shit about New York, and then here comes Hook with some big rig. Or it was like train sounds, right? It was like train horns.
It's a horn that they play apparently at the at the games there.
Okay, so it's a New York specific thing. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
Taz, I didn't know that myself, even being a New Yorker, because I'm not that big a hockey fan.
Yeah.
But Taz was making that reference
Right.
in commentary. Side note, Wheeler Yuta should not be, or Wheeler Yuta. I'm getting that right. I'm not having dyslexia. Wheeler Yuta should not be allowed to hold a microphone yet.
Right.
His promo is terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Wheeler Yuta would have benefited from William Regal still being
Yes,
DC,
I agree.
and kind of like just concentrating on him once he won the Pure Championship. You know, like, I mean, obviously Mox and Brian can handle themselves,
Mhm.
And Claudio as well.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, Wheeler Yuta definitely needs some
polishing.
coaching in that area, and I don't know if the other guys in the BCC are necessarily the people to do that for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, the wrestling, the fighting spirit, all that, yes. But I mean, you know, Claudio's Claudio.
Yeah.
You know, Mox is good, but Mox is his own thing.
Right.
And Bryan Danielson, you know, for all intents and purposes, when Bryan Danielson first like started getting popular, he wasn't great on the mic either.
Yeah.
I think he benefits from his story of who he is as a person, and then he kind of just leaned into that, and it got good. I think, Wheeler Yuta could use somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other guys
that-
in the BCC, I feel like they're good on the mic, but they're good for their own
Right.
their own lane, not
Not
necessarily
for a whole
overall. You know, they
Yeah.
have their personality and their storyline, and the way they do things works for them personally, but it wouldn't be adaptable to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also, Blackpool Combat Club. None of them are from Blackpool anymore, so it just
None of them ever were.
No.
other
and none
than
of them ever
Regal.
were, but at least Regal
Yeah.
was, right? But anyway, that kind of, I don't know if they're gonna just continue calling it BCC and just hope people forget what that stands for, or I don't know. Anyway, but
I'm pretty sure that most people started doing that with Triple H at some point.
Hunter Hearst. Yeah. Well, Sean never forgets. He always calls him Hunter.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was a good match.
It was a good match. Yeah. For 0 Hour, I thought it should have been where it was. I like Hook. I'm a big fan of Hook, and I think he's got a big trajectory ahead of him. And honestly, I think he's gonna go further than Taz if he continues on this run. Obviously he's not as big as Taz is, but he
has a more marketable look.
He has a more he's today's cruiserweight.
And not only that but the thing is, remember, he's still green.
Yeah.
So he's eventually, like all these guys that ended up as cruiserweights, going to put on more weight.
Right.
But he is taller than his dad.
He is
Hook's
taller.
one of those people I think would benefit from being in NXT
Sure.
a little bit,
Sure.
a stint.
You think Taz would be for that or against that?
I think he would. I think it was said like in an interview like a long time ago, like when Hook first debuted, that like he could see him going there for a little bit. You know, it's one of those things where it's like there's so many guys like Hook in the AEW that like I'm like, yeah, it'd be interesting if they go through that program for a little bit too. Just to, you know, there's stuff that you can learn from WWE that you can't learn from AEW.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But then also it's the mirroring thought of like, oh, but AEW can't afford to lose Hook. They can't afford to lose this person. They can't afford to lose that person, because then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I in my brain, I always do like a draft, like a trade off of like trade this person for this person, trade this person for that person. And I feel like that'd be an interesting thing, because I feel like there's a lot of guys that go to AEW and like fucking shine and make it a really good product too. So
I agree. There should be
one of those people I think could benefit from being in NXT for a little bit, having his own run, establishing his own thing. And then I mean, come back, or I mean, hopefully, if AEW is still around, which I want it to be.
Me too.
But you know, there's a lot of things they need to improve.
Yes.
In order to get all the cogs and wheels moving simultaneously at the same time. Sometimes I feel like they concentrate on 2 cogs and leave the other cogs just kind of doing what they want to do, and it doesn't always work out that way. So
I mean, they're 5 years into this company right now, and I think people are a little more forgiving with their mistakes because of how young of a company they are. I'm okay with them letting them grow, and I think them having ROH right now kind of be essentially like their kind of where they send wrestlers.
Their NXT,
right? It's kind of their become, and that's sad because I love ROH as its own thing, but ROH, you know, right now it's not on the mainstream level right now as far as their storylines are.
Push it that way.
They don't push it that way either.
If they would push it the way that NXT is pushed, it might have been a different story.
Maybe they will. Maybe that's what they got to do.
I mean, eventually, if you think that Tony Khan is going to learn from, you know, his experience and looking at the competition, that they could and should turn it into something like that, because there are talents in ROH that would benefit from TV time, and in turn, AEW would also benefit from having these people have TV time.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, what if they, instead of when they create a collision, they just put that energy into Ring of Honor on Saturday night? Who knows?
The answer to that is CM Punk. But yeah, I think they needed a show for Punk. Yeah, but that's a whole other thing, and we've talked about this. But I think they can still do that. They can transition Collision to becoming that. There's no one's sitting here losing their breath over Collision becoming like the ROH show. Like,
they haven't missed the train yet. It's still possible. Yeah. So let's hope they do it.
True.
Yeah. Also, on a side note, is Collision, because World's End was on Saturday, did Collision take place? I don't even know.
I think they did, from what I read somewhere, that there was going to be a special episode of Collision on Thriller TV, but it was like more of a best of kind of show. Like, it wasn't like an actual live taping or whatever.
It's like back in the day when Raw would have like.
Well, not even back in the day. They literally just did it on SmackDown.
Yeah, they just did it on SmackDown.
Did they?
Right?
Okay. Yeah. I missed SmackDown. So was it just like
WWE? They got like
the
week of Christmas off and stuff.
Like, yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, I give this match a. Say what?
I think good for them that they gave the wrestlers Christmas off.
Right. That's definitely no, I agree. That's definitely a good move. So Hook wins with the red rum. There was one thing in this match I just want to mention before I give my grade, and that was that we were talking about Wheeler Yuta needing some more training. I feel like he kind of tried to get creative, but it was almost like he didn't commit fully, and he should have. But there was a moment in this match where he took Hook to the announcer's table and he bounced his head off the table. And what that caused was the little protector on top of it to hit Taz's drink to fall on him. And Wheeler Yuta looked at Taz and he's like, this is what I'm gonna do to your son or some shit like that, right? And then Hook comes in and gets his revenge. But I feel like they could have had a bigger moment in that point of the match, but I don't think Taz was interested in it. So like Taz kind of just shut it down. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about me. Worry about the match." And he shut it down. And I think that was an impromptu moment from Wheeler. You remember that? Yeah. So anyway,
do you think Taz got another match in him? Even if it was just like a tag match or something like that.
You know what? I think if that was going to happen, it should have happened with Aces and Eights, but it didn't. You know what I mean? And that was the best way to bring Taz back, because it was like their version of like ECW originals. But
because I could see them doing Mox and Wheeler versus Taz and Hook. Like I could see them doing that.
I c-
Do I want to see it? I don't know. I don't think so. But
From-
like I
yeah.
could see them doing that just like as a one-off
yeah.
little side storyline.
I know that Taz.
Also
yeah.
Moxley needs a vacation, so
Yeah.
I think Moxley needs to leave for a while.
I agree.
Because he's been forced for the past 2 years to keep wrestling and
I know.
keep going.
If I could watch
So-
a senile Piper and Flair hold the tag team titles, then I can watch Taz for one-off match with Hook. For a one-off.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can do it, more power to them. I would want to see it. I just think Taz has too many injuries that he hasn't. I remember I was a fan of Taz post wrestling when he was calling sports on his radio show, and before he came back to AEW, he was talking about it. Like he's like there was his co-host was asking him, "Would you ever wrestle?" And he's like, "I can't wrestle anymore." He's like, he's got a nagging shoulder injury and all that. But Stone Cold, we thought would never come back, and he did.
It's very nice for a wrestler in his position to admit that and stick to that.
Yeah.
Like, it's very nice.
Well, I mean, he's got a whole new career with announcing. He created a
Yeah.
whole new, and that is, and that's a testament to how talented he was. So anyway, I give this match I think B plus I agree with Bleacher Report, B plus. It was a good short match, and it did what it needed to do.
I'm just gonna give it a B.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why real quick. I would have gave the match a higher grade if, and this is a problem I had with the whole show as a whole, but this could have contributed to the event being better.
Okay.
With the FTW Championship, I get it. They have the rules that come with it. But the problem with the FTW Championship is it doesn't hold any stakes. It's merely a way for people to say, oh, there are no rules in the match.
Yeah.
But how does it differ from house rules with House of Black?
Yeah.
Because of a belt or whatever? The reason
It's not a belt.
The reason why I say that
Yeah.
is because Yuta Wheeler has the Pure Championship. Now, if they would have put the Pure Championship on the line for this match, the stakes would have been higher.
Mm-hmm.
People would have been more vested in this match. And I felt overall that there would have been a little bit more excitement to this match. It was a solid match, but I felt like if they would have had the Pure Championship involved, it would have brought a little bit more of this match to the forefront and made it a little bit more exciting with higher stakes is all. But both performers still...
I mean, with the contrast rules of the belts, like, they could go into that story and, like, Hook will now have to face Wheeler Yuta for the Pure Championship with those rules. And maybe Wheeler Yuta gets the win on that. And then you have, like, I don't know, pink slip on the pole match as the rubber match.
I do agree with you, but I think that they could have did that. It would have worked better in reverse, because if you had the Pure Championship on the line first and Wheeler cheats, now you have a reason to go to FTW rules where there are no rules and so forth. But you do present a fair point.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So with I think with that we can get into
the actual show.
And by the way, Renee Paquette does a great job on the announcer team from outside the commentary. What do they call that? What's their roles? They're not on the announcer table, but they're
commentators.
They're just the interviewers, I guess.
There is a word, I forgot.
Yeah.
Interviewer
backstage
or like
interviewer.
Backstage correspondent. Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something fancy. All right, here we go. World's End. Let's get through this 8-man tag match. Started the pay-per-view.
I have my own theories on this on how this whole thing could have been better, but I'll let you guys go first.
Okay, cool. So Garcia, Danielson, Briscoe, Casanoli defeat King, White, Lethal, and Rush. Yeah, go ahead, Keith. What are your thoughts?
I personally thought it was good enough for what it was. It was all the other people who lost in the C2.
Yeah.
Got them together. I do have in my notes, I remember it started off and I was like, heels versus faces? Like, I was like, is Daniel Garcia a face? I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. Obviously, Briscoe is.
Yeah.
Danielson and Claudio ride the line depending on what the story is.
Yeah.
When they want to. Obviously, Danielson was the heel in the Blue League finals with him and Eddie.
Right.
It was, I guess they wanted Garcia to shine a little bit.
Yep.
He did his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought like, you know, it was one of those matches where like everybody hit their big spots. The crowd got into it. As far as 8-mans go, I thought it was okay. Like, I thought it was good. Like, I didn't think it was, because sometimes 8-mans could just be a clusterfuck of like a bunch of shit going on, and I thought they kind of did well with this. I was more interested in Brody King punking out Daddy Magic the whole time during the match.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Faces win. Yeah. It's just one of those matches. I guess.
What's your grade for it?
I give it a B.
B.
I give it a B.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
B minus at the worst.
Okay.
But yeah.
All
I thought everybody hit their shit. I mean, you know, I'm gonna root for anything that Brian Danielson
Of
is
course.
a part
Yeah.
of. So, you know, he hit his spots. I thought I kept forgetting Jay Lethal was in the match. Until I was like, oh, the black guy. Like, okay. Because I was like, who else is in this match? I was like, oh, it's, you know, I thought Jay White did some fun little thing. Jay White laughing at Daddy Magic when Brody King was punking him. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Thought that was fun. Yeah.
B minus.
It was a good. I thought it was a decent opening match.
Yeah.
Like, just to get the crowd into like whatever with some variety. Yeah.
Now that having watched the whole pay-per-view, I would agree this should have been the first match of the actual pay-per-view, and it did its job. It didn't ignore it continued the storyline of the C2, and it was well done. I think the Garcia, the little dance he does, is what puts him more on the face side than the heel side. Yeah, because people kind of, you know, they mark for that. They mark out for that. So I would agree.
Thought it got repetitive when the heels were making fun of the dance. Like, I think Jay White did it once, then Roosh did it once. Like, I don't know if I don't remember Jay Lethal doing it.
Right.
It would have been funnier if Brody King did it. Like, that would have been hilarious to me. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd probably give it a B, just a solid B. The only reason, the only thing and this is not just in this match, but this is more a general thing with the figure four. I don't mind the figure four. Someone should lose to the figure four at some point. I feel like the figure four has rarely ever decided a match. And what makes it worse is the reverse. Everyone knows it doesn't really hurt anyone, right? The figure four itself, can cause some pain on the ankle and the leg, but it's like,
I don't think I've ever been in it reverse, so I don't even know like if that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
I do know this. Obviously, Ric Flair made the figure four.
Right.
And because Ric Flair did the whole heel thing and he used the figure four as like, this is my move. Of course, when he would wrestle bums, he would win with it.
Yeah.
But like, he would always like, you know, get it reversed on him or, you know, something like that. And I think people follow that tradition. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, they should give more power to the figure four. Like, at least one wrestler do it specifically and like make it like a thing.
And it's harder to make the figure four win a match now because why? Because we got figure eight. Now that becomes
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So now that is the whole.
Which was also used later in the show.
It was used later in the show by her husband. Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
B for me, B for you. What are you?
Okay, I'll start with the grade, and I'll give a few breakdown
Go for
points. I thought it was a B.
Okay.
Solid B. Had no problems with the match. Everyone did their thing. Nice opener. Here's my thing. And I also agree with the Danny Garcia thing about giving him a little bit of shine and push, because remember they also did that a few weeks ago with his match with MJF.
Yep.
They made him look good as well. So I think they're trying to familiarize the crowd with Danny Garcia. That being said, this is how I feel that this could have been better, or how they could have handled the fallout from the tournament better. So the way that the way that it's structured right now, there's not much at stake. It's just a filler match, but with all the quote unquote losers.
Yeah.
But how you can make this better is, let's just say, for example, you go through the tournament. Obviously, there's the winner, which in this case was Eddie Kingston. You put all those people in an 8-man tag, 4 on the side, but you give it stakes. The winner of the 4-man match, the 8-man tag, the 4 winners, you get a winner out of that. The 4 people that were on the same team that won now go on to have a match like a fatal 4-way, and at another event, and the winner of that could go challenge Eddie Kingston for the Triple Crown. The storyline can write itself, and it gives
I like that
more stakes to it. That being said, the performance was great, and it was a B.
And can they not still do that? I feel like maybe they can.
They can.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will, but like we said, people watch this show. Tony Khan, take some notes. We give you some tips.
Come on, Tony.
yeah
I agree with you. I think that's a good ad. I feel like AEW has a lot of good ideas, but then they get distracted.
Yep.
That's literally what I feel with AEW. They have a lot of good stipulation matches. They have a lot of good stakes that they put in these, and then they're like, oh wait, we got to do that, and that to me, I feel like is a team. Like they need to expand on their team.
They also need to commit more.
They need to commit.
They
yes.
need to commit instead of letting things.
It's like in comedy, man. You don't abandon your material just because it's not landing where you wanted it to land. You gotta sometimes go beyond and push through, commit, and that's kind of how you win the crowd over. But anyway,
we all seem to agree on this one.
I think so. But Bleacher Report says B+ because
it's close enough. How often are we that close to Bleacher Report?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's move on. I actually forgot about this next match, which we just mentioned. And not that I forgot that it happened. I forgot that it was actually a pretty good match. And to me, it was the manager's side of all this, being Miro's real life wife. And so Miro versus Andrade El Idolo. Now, you mentioned earlier, is he done with AEW?
He's absolutely done.
Okay, this is it.
Which that is the only issue.
Again, something happened backstage, and there was an argument about something that's coming out. Who knows? Whatever. I think he's been wanting to be gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Also Miro too, so that's interesting. That it was 2 people who don't even want to be there.
That's right.
Have this match.
So I guess that worked in my favor that I didn't know that, because
it did.
It helped me kind of suspend my disbelief.
Yeah,
I think it came out after, right before the pay-per-view.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, there was a whole other thing that came out before the pay-per-view, which I want to touch on with Chris Jericho. But we'll talk about that at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, you did benefit from it, because watching this match, knowing what had happened, you kind of knew that the end result was going to be a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
That being said, the performances in this match, It was all right. It was a solid match. Nothing, no crazy spots. Nothing too, um, too fancy, too outstanding. But
Yeah.
the guys both put in some solid work. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I-
Not much to
I
say
think-
more than that. Maybe give it like a C plus.
C+. Okay. Cool. Keith?
I'm gonna say this about the match. This is what I wanted from it. And this was like just my bizarre mind being like trying to write some television. So during the match, there's the whole back and forth with CJ, Perry, and Miro. And then obviously at some point he kind of turns on Andrade,
Mm-hmm.
kicks, I think, or she hits his
His hands, yeah,
Arm
out
from
of
the
the
rope,
figure eight.
yeah.
Yeah.
She kept yelling about her finger,
Right.
which that spawned this thought. I was like, make their story like her managing people to fight Miro is this weird sex thing that they have going on in their relationship,
Right.
where it's just like they get off on like Miro fighting somebody that she manages, and it's just for her benefit and his benefit, and like make people a part of that. And she just goes through like you could have her manage several people like within like a 3-month span.
Mm.
And just make it so it's like that, and it's like, oh, like, it starts being obvious. Maybe she starts cutting promos about like, it turns her on, like watching, like to me that's just funny.
Yeah.
It's something for them to do, because clearly there's really no true direction with Miro right now.
Right.
He's just kind of there.
He's just a redeemer. Yeah.
To the
He went-
pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's fighting his redeemer Christian side, but for a while when he was doing a redeemer, he was like always like, and my hot wife.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
build on that. Like,
Right.
that would be, I don't know. I feel like that'll be entertaining. That'll be funny. It doesn't have to get, super down and dirty, or it can. I mean, Edge and Lita had live sex
Yeah.
on Raw.
That's right. That's
only
right.
only to be interrupted by an old man named Ric Flair, which is funny.
Who has a lot
but,
of sex off camera, but yeah.
Yeah, I want that to be the story, because I think that would make it interesting and make it, fun.
Tony K, you hearing us? So what's your grade on this match?
I could see.
C. Okay.
C.
Yeah.
Like it was like it. Unlike you, I didn't have I knew that Andrade was leaving,
Yeah.
so it was just like, okay, like Miro's gonna win this match.
Dang, all right.
And then,
Yeah.
it was fine. I feel like if they both cared more, it could have been better.
Yeah.
But I mean, much like the Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander thing, I just don't think they were in it. They were just trying to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to their credit, them getting through it, it wasn't god awful.
Right.
It was, it was fine.
Yeah, they
It was
didn't
a
have a
scene.
botch fest. Their performances at least
Right.
were. They looked like they were at least into the match and trying to put on a good show.
I think they're both great wrestlers too.
I just
So,
thought
yeah.
that CJ thing that you had mentioned when she had broken up the figure eight, that didn't look believable. It's like make it make sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. I feel not having known this that Andrade was leaving, I kind of hoped that CJ didn't interfere in the match, but since she did,
Keep talking, by the way. I'm just going to grab a charger.
yeah, no, go
Keep
for
talking.
it. Yeah. Andrade having leaving the match, I feel like my interest in this match was more on CJ's finger, because I knew what had happened to her. I had seen the
What happened to CJ's finger?
CJ was in the hospital. She was in the ER for like a week. She got an infected finger, her middle finger, and they had to actually it was a balloon, and she sent on her Instagram, she had posted about it. So it was like she had her finger balloon up from an infection, and it was like her upper arm was starting to affect her whole arm. So they had to rush her to the hospital and perform emergency surgery. So then she showed after the surgery how it was like cut open and all the fucking whatever pus and all that was removed. And so that black tape she had on her finger is because of that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was a real situation where it could have been life-threatening. So they had to do that surgery on her finger, emergency. So I was surprised she was there. I thought she was not gonna even be at the pay-per-view, because she literally had that surgery like 4 days ago. So anyway, bottom line, I kind of, because I had seen the open wound, so I kind of was a little squeamish when she used her hands to break that figure eight up. And then she did the whole flicking. She like flicked off Miro even after she helped him, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
With her middle finger, like they definitely have some weird sex, I bet. Yeah.
Well, look at her outfit.
I know. Yeah.
The ring attire for that matchup.
She's like one of those hot girls is a Republican. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely. But
I think Miro tapes up when they have sex. Like he puts on tape on his feet, on his hand. He comes in, he's back there.
And he goes like, Rusev Putia, Rusev Machka.
Yeah. He always is. They do it in that tank that they always use.
Her Russian accent comes back.
He said, Rusev Crush, Rusev Smash.
Oh man, yeah, it's cool though. So we'll see where it goes. I hope Keith, they follow through with what you mentioned. So we'll see how much they're distracted with this storyline. AEW. I'll be nice. I'll give it a C+. The Bleacher Report gave it a B-. And so moving on. Okay, one of my favorite.
Wow, they really like this pay-per-view.
I know.
I know. Being very generous with those grades, I feel like.
They are being generous. You're right. One of my favorite characters right now in AEW is Toni Storm and what she's doing.
Mine too.
Yeah, she's doing an amazing job, and her facial expressions, all of it. It's perfect. I think it's great. If there's only one thing,
she had this one hilarious spot, but I'll let you.
Yeah. There's only one thing I want them to adjust, and this is probably me. It's like I don't have a way to. I haven't thought of a way to get this to happen, but if they could in the match keep the match either all black and white, like whoever she faces, the match is in black and white. I think why make it color all of a sudden? It takes away from the.
I've always said that if she was doing this gimmick in WWE, they would do that for sure.
Yeah,
they would like make it black and white. They would have like the little scratched film effect in it. Probably.
It's one of those things, though. It's a matter of preference because remember they tried to do these kind of angle with the Fiend with the red matches. And
They did,
and more people than not disliked it because they said it was annoying to watch. So I think again, it's a matter of preference. It could work. It could may not work.
It's more beneficial to her character than the red was beneficial to the Fiend.
They used it in segments of this match, though. If you notice, there were
they did.
That were black and white.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it silly because I'm like, okay, so is this alternate universe that she's in? Like, is that just sometimes, or is it all like? To me, I feel who else? I think there was another wrestler back in the day who the screen went black and white for, and then
the Vaudevillains used to do like their entrance in all black and white, which was cool. Like I was a fan of that. Which I mean, if the Vaudevillains was still a thing, like this would be the perfect
it'd be a statement
match.
That's for sure.
Yeah, this would be the perfect thing for them to do together. Obviously that didn't work out. I will say that, so I'm a huge Toni Storm fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've always have been. I think she's an amazing wrestler. Also, just side note, Toni Storm's body type, my type. So I get distracted a little bit, you know,
I get it.
when I'm watching their matches.
You bring a
But I
different
will
meaning.
say-
You bring a
Yeah.
different meaning to black and white. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I will say that I don't know if Tony Storm's matches as of late have been held up to like, I mean, I think of the Evolution pay-per-view, the Mae Young Classic Finals. It's Tony Storm, Kairi Sane. That match to me is one of the best female matches I've seen. It was really, really good. And then, you know, however you look at it, WWE dropped the ball on Tony Storm, or Tony Storm wouldn't play ball with, you know, Vince wanting her to be naked or whatever, which some people will argue, well, she just got an OnlyFans anyway. And
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah, but that's on like her terms. Like
Right.
it's not on fucking Vince McMahon sexual harassment terms. You know what I mean? So it's like a different thing.
Right.
With that said, I thought this match was what Rio was just somebody for her to fight so they can make Tony Storm strong. I thought they had the spot where they ejected Luther.
Keep going. I'm listening.
Anyway,
I'm
they
just going
played
to
on Riho having like her back injury, and playing on that. I thought it was a decent match. It was decent. It was good. Tony Storm wins. That's the right move, obviously. I think Tony Storm keeps that belt till Wembley, possibly Jamie Hayter comes back. We get a proper Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter match. I've for some reason locked in my mind that the AEW Wembley show is like kind of their WrestleMania. Like in a way, like, I mean, it's the biggest show they've ever done.
Yeah.
It's a good place to like conclude some storylines. I feel like. So
I think it is. I think it is their mania. It is their mania. All in is their mania.
Because it's All In. It's the first one that they had.
Right.
You know, I used to look at All Out in that way. Before they brought All In back.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say, I think they tried to push it like for a while that Double or Nothing was their big like pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Tony Storm, Rio had a decent match. I don't think it was anything spectacular, but it was decent. It pushed the Timeless thing, and I don't know if you watched any of the media scrum.
I haven't seen the media scrum. No.
I have not either.
So Tony Storm was one of the wrestlers on the media scrum.
Okay.
She came out with what she came out to the ring with that like weird fur hat with fur coat and big glasses.
Was it black and
There's
white?
memes going around where she put it on Tony Khan, so Tony Khan sitting there with a cup with the hat on. But she says she alludes to Sasha Banks.
Ooh.
And she says, I know that there's free agents out there that have money written all over them. And then she slams the table. She gets up and she looks at the camera. She was like, Wendy Richter, I'm coming for you, which I thought was hilarious. And it just plays on the Timeless thing.
Yeah.
It was just, I think it was just, this match was just a vehicle to continue to push this character. I'll give it a C+, B-, just because it was just kind of a placeholder for that. So it wasn't anything spectacular wrestling wise.
Yeah.
But it did its job.
Nice.
I feel like.
Was the Bleacher Report agrees with you, B-, by the way. I think that was the first one.
Okay.
But also did the media scrum for Tony Storm's part, was that in black and white? Or was it in color?
No, it wasn't. And
See what I'm saying? It's like they're not consistent. Yeah.
No,
they should give the Timeless. They should give the Timeless portion or the Timeless black and white thing like the lead on that. They shouldn't be wishy-washy.
You know who I read was
for the promos. I
kind
agree.
of
I don't know the matches. Like I said, it's a matter of preference. I can't say yes. I can't say no. But definitely for the promos and vignettes, yeah, it should be black and white
for sure.
Yeah. What were you saying?
The spearhead of this whole like timeless Tony Storm thing is RJ City. And I think he should have a hand in writing other stuff more.
Yes.
For AEW.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I mean, I think I'm not gonna say that this timeless Tony Storm, like, he nailed it. It's the perfect thing. Like it's not. I think it's still forming and it's still growing. The crowd loves it, which is I think you get an hardcore AEW crowd who's like into the wrestling to like something sports entertaining that AEW is doing.
Right.
I think that's a big feat. Like that's a big hurdle that you get over. So yeah, I think RJ City should have a hand more in writing some of the more sports entertaining stuff that they do.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's a very unique talent in that realm. I thought he was a decent wrestler too, but I think he's.
I never saw him wrestle.
Yeah, he didn't wrestle much. I don't know.
No.
He started out. I remember like 10 years ago, he was like wrestling, and then he disappeared for a while, and then he popped up as an announcer and an interviewer. But yeah, what do you think? Did you already give your grade? No, you didn't.
I think that I'm gonna be in agreement, and say that it was a C+, B-. I like Tony Storm's character work. Tony Storm's character work is a lot of the reason that this angle and this character works.
Yeah.
As I said, she had a spot in this match where like how this the old black and white movies are a bit campy. She had this it's not necessarily a spot in terms of like a move, but it was something that she said that like was meant to be audible. Like everyone was meant to hear this. She was about to put on the Texas Cloverleaf, and it almost reminded me, if you've ever played that video game Cuphead, because that kind of takes place in that era too. She goes, "She's toast." And I like chuckled out loud when I heard that, because I was like, that's so appropriate for this character. It's like spot on. My only critique of the match, really, because like I said, there wasn't anything generally wrong with it. It just wasn't overly exciting. Probably because of the lack of build to the storyline. It's just served the purpose, like you said, to continue to push the timeless story. I mean, the character. But that DDT that she hit at the end looked a little awkward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it came off still looking good on TV.
Yes.
Like, but you can't tell.
Yeah.
It was to the point where I can't tell if that was modified or if it was botched.
Even the announcers said it. They were like, "Whoa!" Like they reacted like they thought it was a botch. Like they treated it like it was a bad execution.
Yeah, but seeing a lot of what Tony Storm has done lately, and how Rio didn't seem to be long-term affected by it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm questioning, was that really a botch, or did they modify that? Was that a cult spot? Was it something else that was botched but was modified in the moment to make it look really good? Like she saved her from another botched move? Either way, I mean, whatever happened there, it worked.
I want to see that move again, though. I want to see it done properly. If it wasn't done properly, because it looks.
Oh wait, you mean the finisher that she did?
Yeah.
Okay, so you should look it up. So I remember when she was in NXT.
Yeah.
She pulled that move out one time.
Okay.
And when she did it came out a lot better than it did in this match, and it looked really cool. And I was like, I remember sending the video to my friends, be like, have you seen this new move that Tony Storm just fucking did? Yeah. And like that was like kind of right before like she got moved up to the main roster, then she left. So we didn't get to see it much anymore.
Yeah.
But like, I think if you like YouTube like Tony Storm NXT new finisher, you'll probably find it.
Yeah.
I don't know what she called it, but like I feel like that's a better example of what that move was supposed to be. It almost reminded me of like when Mercedes Moné,
Yeah.
Sasha Banks showed up at the end of that Kairi Sane match and was doing her new move, but it didn't translate at first. Like it was like, what is she doing? Like what is that? But then like she did the move later. You're like, oh, okay, I get. It was like kind of like a whip around.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but yeah, like it reminded me of that situation where like the move just didn't hit like when I previously saw it.
Right. I hope this does have a name, because even Bleacher Report calls it an awkward modified DDT. So that is, I'm pretty sure that's not the real name, because if it was, that'd be hilarious. But
An awkward flag.
Yeah. The AMDDT. No. Yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious to see this come back, this move. And maybe she shouldn't bring it back every match, but like in special moments she should use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
like if done right the way I saw it, I forgot who she was facing to in NXT at the time, but like she pulled that move out and I was like generally like, what?
Yeah.
Like it was like the first time I saw the Vertebreaker, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, and
yeah,
that Vertebreaker is still one of my favorite moves. That is probably very unsafe, like for most people to do or to take.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The real question is, Keith, what move do you want her to do to you? Is the
I did in my notes. There's one thing that I just said, misogynistically, I would sleep with Tony Storm. I was like, just to deviate from the wrestling, misogynistically, yeah.
Those are, I think we're allowed one of those per episode. So there it is. There it is, guys. So so at the end of this match, so you both agreed it was a B-? Did you give it a B-?
I gave it like a C plus, B-.
C plus, B-. Yeah. So I would agree with you guys, and Bleacher Report agrees as well. There's also the thing after the match, Mariah May came out with the flowers, and it was a cool way, and I like how Tony Storm,
obviously that's going to be a turn down the line.
Of course, yeah. Which one of these hasn't turned? You know what I mean?
I don't know much about Mariah May.
Yeah, I don't either.
I guess she kind of had sort of a similar gimmick where like her being a movie star, of her being not like similar like the old timey like black and white, but like that's kind of why they put her with Tony Storm. So I'm sure like I hope they just, again, that could be filler in another match Tony Storm has before like we get to Wembley.
Let's see what happens. Interesting stuff. Kind of remind it, maybe they take it to kind of how I forgot her name is not coming to me. Old girl who used to shadow Trish Stratus all the time. She was like obsessed with her.
Oh, Zoe Stark?
No, original.
Mickey James.
Mickey James. Yeah. Maybe it becomes one of those deals. I don't know. We'll see. Puppy love. Yeah. What's your dog's name? Reggie. Boy, right? Yeah. Obviously boy. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Well, not obviously. Like, get your shit together. It's 2024. But also, yes. He's a male.
Even AEW acknowledges. Because
true.
Yeah, no, it's true. Because later on, in the match, with Abaddon.
Oh, right.
They refer to her with the pronoun as they.
Oh, yep.
They do. Yes. Yeah,
I was very attentive to that.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Good for them.
Yeah.
Cancel me, not AEW. All right. All right, guys. Next match. This is a good one. It wasn't even supposed to be this, but due to lack of doctor clearance, it became Swerve Strickland versus Dustin Rhodes, who was the tag team partner to same name as you, Keith Lee. So Keith Lee, I like Keith Lee. I think he was on the trajectory in NXT, and then WWE portion of it kind of ruined it. And he's doing what he's doing, and then he also has had some health scares of his own last year.
Even this year. But
I don't know what the reason is for this one.
Officially, it's been labeled as a back injury. He had a match prior to this one. I saw on one of the smaller shows, and sustained a back injury. But overall, before we even get into this match, I mean, it is connected to this match, so I do kind of mention it. I feel like AEW really has dropped the ball even worse than WWE with the Keith Lee experiment.
Really?
They're not really doing a good job with pushing a guy with the charisma and the monster look of a Keith Lee. There should be a lot more done with Keith Lee.
But I think we got to consider that health scare because
they were doing this before the health scares.
Okay.
And when he came in the company, they didn't even.
I don't know how long his health thing has been an issue because remember when he gave that one promo when him and Swerve won the tag belts. The way I took it is that he was fighting through a bunch of stuff. I think was there like a cancer scare or like
I thought it was a heart. It was a heart. I thought it was a heart issue. Yeah.
Now, not to say that I agree.
Right.
AEW dropped the ball. I mean, obviously, I feel my whole thing is like WWE dropped the ball when you had that Survivor Series match and it was him and Roman.
Yeah.
Like that's when Keith Lee should have been something.
Yeah.
Then they made him the Bearcat.
Yeah.
Also, the Pandemic Thunderdome kind of happened.
And then they put him into the that stable with Mustafa Ali and with where they gave everybody the masks.
Right.
Remember, Michin was in it and Donovan Dijakovic.
He wasn't in that. Keith Lee wasn't in that. I don't think so.
Was he not? All right,
that was Mace.
I think he was original member, and then they scrapped him.
Oh, was he? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense because Mia Yim, but I just don't remember him being. Also, that's a murky time, so I don't. I might. He could have been in it, and then like there was an injury or something or whatever, and
I don't think he was in it like full time because there were more people, I believe, in the initial inception of that stable, and I think they reduced the numbers.
What were they called?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. What was the members?
Retribution.
Oh,
is that what it was?
Is that the one you're talking about? Retribution. I remember Retribution for like a hot minute.
That was a weird angle.
Yeah,
like because I know they even dropped
what it became.
Because even Mia Yim got dropped maybe like after being in 2 weeks in that stable. Like she was in the first step or two like SmackDowns of it, and then she just disappeared.
Yeah,
I remember when they first started. I was like, is this supposed to be Antifa? Like what is this? Is this what it's supposed to be?
Yeah. So
no, you're right. It was Dio Madden that was Mace, but
Mace was Dio Madden. Slapjack was Shane Thorne. Reckoning was Mia Yim. Retaliation was Mercedes Martinez, who I really like as a wrestler.
She also disappeared within 2 weeks.
I remember that. Yeah. And Dijak was in it, right?
Yeah, Dominic. Dijakovic.
He's still in NXT.
T-Bar. He was T-Bar. He is.
Back to NXT,
but I think that was the highlight of Keith Lee was his rivalry with T-Bar or Dominic Dijakovic in.
It wasn't just in NXT though. They had a rivalry predating that back before they went to NXT. Right. So there was history going into that what made it good.
Yeah.
But that I think they had like a series of matches and all of them I thought were amazing. Okay, so back to
Anyway, back to this.
this is a timeless conversation.
This
right?
was kind of a filler match.
Yeah, filler.
I was-
filler so here's my beef with this one. I like that Dustin Rhodes volunteered to take his tag partner's place. What I don't like is they tried to injure him on the cinder block, and he sold it well, and then he was fine. Like, it was like, are you injured or not? Like, if your ankle is broken, if that's
Halfway
the
through,
if that's the angle and that's how you start, and he fights to be in the match, keep that going or don't have the match. And I thought that's
agree.
where they were going. I thought they were going to.
I thought it should have been a squash. Like it should have been like
Yeah.
that angle, like he couldn't compete, or like maybe he could compete. Swerve dragged him in the ring, did a bunch of his moves,
Yeah.
squashed him just to make Swerve look strong.
Right.
I don't know if you pay attention. I got to give credit to this thought process from Wrestle Talk.
Mhm.
Ollie Davis said this. He was like, the concept of that they injured the concept of Swerve's original opponent
Mhm.
was injured
Yeah.
and they wouldn't clear him. But then so they ran the angle of him injuring his new opponent,
And they clear him.
and then they were like, "Go ahead, wrestle. It's fine."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's silly. And then like, I mean, not to say that I don't enjoy a Dustin Rhodes comeback
Right.
in a match, but it was just it conflicted with what they did before. If they were just gonna have him come back, they should have had Swerve just whooping on him
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and then Swerve beats him. Like you there was two things happening in that match, and I feel like they needed to pick one. And
Right.
I feel like the best one would have been if we're pushing Swerve, which I am a Swerve fan.
Me
I
too.
believe Swerve should be the next champion, the first black champion
Mhm.
in AEW. I believe all that.
Mhm.
I think what they've done with him up until this point has been really good, and I think it's like because the fans got into him. Like I don't know if this was necessarily the plan.
Yeah.
But he just grassroots grew and grew in popularity.
Yeah.
I just feel like you take this opportunity to be like, okay, either Swerve is this strong where he's this sinister
Yeah.
where he injures Dustin Rhodes and gets that heat from that, or he has a match with Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
And he shows how good he is. Dustin Rhodes come back, and then Swerve wins the match.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No.
so yeah,
I agree with you, and I do agree that he should be the next champion or build or get him to that level by All In and have him win.
I mean him versus Samoa Joe sounds like a really good match. to me.
100%. 100%.
I mean, not to spoil anything for
No,
people
yeah,
watching, but yeah, like
Yeah, it's fine.
I agree with in terms of what happened with this match. The only thing that I believe that we haven't brought up in context was it wasn't a random volunteering from Dustin Rhodes. Him and Swerve had history before in a previous match.
Yeah.
And this was Dustin actually won that by disqualification.
Right.
So this was kind of trying to play off of that, but that still highlights the points that you brought up earlier. It could have been something that was better served if they had a bigger build up to it and referenced that a bit more instead of just as a line of commentary during the match.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think I think that given all of that and he was injured and then he wasn't because he was able to walk on it and he was doing like moves that on a broken ankle you couldn't do.
Right.
I mean, they never verbatim said his ankle was broken. It was just but that's what I thought of. What if you're gonna do the cinder block spot, then at least commit to it. Kind of like Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 when he got rushed to the back in the middle of his match with Batista and Randy, and then
Yeah.
have him come back later. But obviously, this is not a three-way. But
That's what brought the match
Oh, you
down
mean-
for me, honestly, because from a veteran like Dustin Rhodes, I expect him to be able to commit to the injury angle.
yeah,
more.
me too.
You know,
Yeah.
it's different. Don't get me wrong, it's still not completely acceptable, but for someone like MJF to do it like he did against Jay White, it's a little bit excusable because of the amount of time that MJF has been in an active wrestler.
Yeah.
Not that it is completely excusable, but you're willing to suspend your belief a little bit, being a little more forgiving. But you're talking about a 30-year plus veteran
Yeah.
that's holding, multiple titles across
Yeah.
different organizations and different time periods.
Yeah.
Someone who was actually around when this shit was supposed to look real,
Yeah.
and you expect him to know better.
He's also been electrocuted, and he sold that really well in the past. so.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, I think an easy fix for this would have been right when he gets the spot with the cinder block, and you got all these medics coming in to help him. He could have just been like, tape it up. I'm not.
And that was a great spot too.
Yeah.
Because while they were doing that, there was this like kind of, it reminded me of ECW. It was this raucous feeling of like the crowd was like mixed to their reaction.
Yeah.
And off mic, Swerve is just like, fuck that. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like
Yeah.
being real sinister about shit. I'm
Right.
like, okay, like, yeah, like this is
That-
the Swerve. And then they could have been like, all right, we're gonna cut, and then just went to the next match.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
or like you said, tape it up. He tries to go for it,
Yeah.
but the working of the match could have been a little different,
Right.
and there could have been that big of a comeback, I guess.
Sure.
Like, it was kind of a bigger comeback than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I also didn't like the finish
Yeah.
because the finish to this match was almost like someone's retirement match,
Oh yeah.
where Dustin's kind of sitting there giving him the finger
Yeah.
and yelling out explicit,
Yeah.
like almost like he can't go, and he's asking him to finish him.
Right.
It's like the uncensored version of like Ric Flair asking Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels to kick him.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But like, this isn't your retire match, or at least he's not supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, why are you doing
I mean,
this?
It wasn't
are
Ric Flair's
rumors
retirement match
that-
either. Yeah.
Clearly it
rumors
wasn't.
that
Yeah.
There are rumors that Dustin might go back to WWE
Oh.
for his last leg,
Okay.
do some stuff with his brother.
Yeah.
They put Goldust in the Hall of Fame,
They did.
as he should be.
They did. Yeah, I agree.
And so who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
And speaking of we'll see, that's the grade I give this, a C. Maybe Bleacher gives it a C plus. I'm gonna say C just because of the poor execution there on the beginning of the match.
C
Right.
minus here.
C minus. What do you
It
get?
could have been a B minus B segment had they made the right choices.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
But I love the Prince Nana. I love the comedy side of all of this with Prince Nana and
Mhm.
and with the dark character that Strickland has, and that keeps it like it's a perfect opposite in my like for them to be together. Like it's how would I rate that? I would probably put that like there's been like manager roles who've been very different from the character, kind of like the original manager of Undertaker. Right? Love. What was her?
Brother Love.
Brother Love. Yeah, like that was the original, right? And that was such a perfect opposite to the Taker character.
Mhm.
Ugh,
They-
I can't stand Bruce Pritchard.
Right, but they didn't stick with it anyway.
The Brother Love
Right.
thing, I don't got a problem with.
Yeah.
That's fine, the character.
Yeah.
But Bruce Pritchard as a human being
Oh,
is
well,
a
yeah.
piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's no
Yeah.
love there.
And I
Clearly.
say that without my chic impersonation. You know it's
That's a
serious.
shoot. That's a shoot. Yeah.
Hey, just randomly, I don't do this a lot. Like I know some wrestling fans do this a lot, where they listen to a lot of wrestling themes all the time.
Yeah.
There's only some I listen to as a joke because it's funny.
Yeah.
Like I mean during the pandemic, when I was staying with my best friend, and I would just wake him up with John Cena's theme or Randy Orton's theme, like for the fuck of
Imagine
it.
waking up
That's
to
when,
that.
like, yeah. But Swerve's theme, put it on your rotation.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
It's a nice. It's a banger.
I like
it's,
it.
It's a banger.
Absolutely.
And of course, Prince Nana built it up with the dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I am proud of Swerve for being like, you know what? I'm not gonna go back to WWE. I'm gonna stick it out here
Yeah.
and do my own shit. And he's done well.
I agree.
Like, he's done well.
I think that's there's a couple wrestlers that left WWE and their careers elevated in AEW. Moxley being one, and I think Strickland is the other one.
Low key Christian.
Yes, 100%.
Low key Christian.
100%.
Like,
But here's the thing:
this-
Christian was
like
off.
this,
Yeah, but
Christian is my favorite Christian.
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah,
Like the patriarchy, I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's perfect. I think he delivers it perfectly. I think this is the strongest he's ever came off. Because
Yeah.
I mean, he had, and I know we'll get to that match later, but he has always kind of rode in Edge's shadow,
right.
for the most part. And
Yeah.
this is like,
This is
Yeah.
you don't treat it like that anymore. Now they're two
Yeah.
bona fide superstars.
they're even.
Yeah. No, his Christian heel is this rendition of his heel run is the best one he's ever done. He's been heel in TNA and even in WWE, but this is definitely, I think, it tops it.
I think Christian's heel run in AEW is probably the best character work done by any wrestler this year.
Yeah.
Or in this past year.
Yeah.
I'll put it up
Yeah.
there. I'll put it up there. Yeah.
I mean, who's doing better heel work?
No.
It really.
No, we've talked about
like,
heel.
I'm not arguing. People are entitled to their opinions,
Yeah.
but like, I'm just saying, if you really think about it,
Dominic
like I
maybe,
have.
but Dominic is
but Dominic's not putting the effort. People just hate him because of who he is. He's not actually like eliciting those reactions.
And he's still learning.
Right.
He's still learning
Right.
and figuring it out.
right.
Like, I don't think you can send Dominic out away from the Judgment Day on his own and he be this monster heel. But like,
Yes.
Christian,
No,
Christian's
for sure.
doing very well.
No,
for
Christian
himself
is
right now.
Christian is living in
Christian
it.
went from being his heel run in WWE was more about my peeps this, my peeps that.
yeah.
He went from that to this.
Right.
Which means, like, this is a majority of, obviously, I'm sure that they've collaborated somewhat with the storyline, but this is Christian's creation.
But
he's carrying this.
But just don't forget also, and we'll talk about Christian and Adam. It's coming up soon. But don't forget, he was out of wrestling for 7 years, and then when he came back, it was it was after he was cleared from all the. I don't know if he also had neck injuries or it was a head injury, concussions. I think he had. It was concussions for him. But anyway, he's back, and even in AEW, he wasn't this until like a year and a half in, and now he's created this character. It's beautiful. I hope he continues the rest of his career as this heel.
I want him to only fight people whose fathers are dead.
Oh, wow.
like for me, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
That way.
But that's
I'll be your father. Like, what? The audacity.
I agree. I mean, he could stretch that to people who have fathers who are just deadbeat fathers, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. He could be like, "I'm the father you needed" or some shit. But I agree. It's great.
You could go talk to Ray.
Ooh, if this was happening in WWE,
Oh my god.
the Christian Ray Dominic, like,
Oh man.
I mean, instead of Dominic being in Judgment Day, he's just under
Yeah.
Christian.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Man, that's fantasy.
Like,
That's the ultimate fantasy booking right there. I love
right?
I love that. But cool. So this match, Dustin versus Swerve,
We gave grades.
we gave our grades. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bleacher Report gave it a C+. Okay, let's move on. this is hilarious. Bleacher Report calls this 8-man tag match the other 8-man tag match. I feel like the first
I
8-man.
called it stupid 8-man tag. I was like, this is a stupid 8-man tag match. I don't care about this one at all.
So what made this match interesting was one thing that was not discussed at all on the pay-per-view by anybody. And that is the whole Chris Jericho and Kylie Ray situation, and that went trending. Right now, it's a lot of rumors. There's nothing that it's allegedly that Chris Jericho tried to proposition Kylie Ray into some sort of sexual act that she refused, and then now she's out of AEW. So there is so that whole thing had took place literally the day before World's End.
Well, supposedly they refer to him. They're beginning to refer to him now as like pro wrestling's version of Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, so that was trending as well. That Jericho is this monster apparently. That to me, it's like the snowball effect, right? I feel like again, this is all allegedly, and if it's true, then absolutely Chris Jericho should be fired. But until it's proven, or until there is some evidence that is admissible in court, which I have friends who argue this, and they're like, oh, just because it's admitted in court, or it's proven correct or incorrect, or guilty or not guilty, that doesn't make it not true. So I mean,
right?
Yeah, there is also that. So it's a very hairy subject, because it's hard to talk about it. But I did want to mention it, and if you guys had any opinion on it, obviously share yours. But Kylie Ray's out of AEW now. There's a lot of other female wrestlers who are backing her and saying, is it safe now to discuss Chris Jericho being what he really is, or some shit?
I will say this about Chris Jericho. I've always been a Chris Jericho fan.
Okay.
Not to the extent of like a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where, Chris Jericho, once he did like the New Japan stuff, and like obviously was one of the major forces with AEW becoming, another another strong promotion. There were people saying that he had surpassed HBK at what he contributed, and I was like, well, everybody relax, everybody calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found out about Chris Jericho's wife, who was in the January 6th. She participated.
Yeah.
She participated in that, and I was like, oh, okay, well. And then I was like, all right, I kind of let that slide, or whatever. Now I'm like, I mean, it doesn't shock me really.
Okay.
Like that these allegations exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't really shock me that much. I mean, Jericho's opinion about a lot of things, I don't agree with. Sometimes. I also think, just as a wrestler standpoint, with none of this going on, Jericho should not be wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
AEW. I think he's pretty much done, but he's continuing to go, and maybe he's convinced himself they need me. And I'm like, I don't know if they do.
Right.
There was also all the stuff, the spatting with CM Punk's lawyer.
Yeah.
That happened on Christmas, on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. They were on Twitter having spats about the CM Punk situation, and also how Jericho claims that there was no AEW handbook. He's never been given one, and that he's never had to sign an NDA ever in his time in the company.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about like this match, there was a sign that said Worlds NDA.
Oh
Like
yeah.
World, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was like funny. Pretty clever sign.
So I think my biggest thing with this was going into the pay-per-view was like, are they going to take him off TV? Are they going to take him off the pay-per-view? And clearly Tony Khan decided not to. And they made no mention of this, obviously, but they also just went about it as if nothing's going on. So
there was a mixed reaction to him when he came out too. There were boos.
Yeah.
People were booing him.
But then there was many that were singing his song, so I don't know. It's it's like
it's a good song. It's a good song. Like,
it is.
It's like a this is a R. Kelly moment. It's like Ignition's a good song though. Like, I mean, you know,
right.
Still gonna sing it, like you know, or a Kanye West situation. Like, I mean, yeah, but also, you know.
I know.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is a great album. So, sometimes like your mind separates those things in that moment. Also, this is all, I mean, at this point of the match, him coming out, this is all very new to everybody.
Yes.
Like you said, this is all alleged.
Yeah.
There's no whatever.
Right.
I like to think, I mean, I know there's lots of exceptions to this rule, but I mean, if usually when somebody says something, you at least did a little bit. Like you probably did something creepy.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Weird. Yeah.
I just thought all this stuff was hilarious because I found out by listening to Jim Cornette's podcast.
Did you?
About all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to get your lapdog in order. What's going on there in AEW?
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, Jason
Acevedo, he does the perfect impression.
But this match, overshadowed by everything. That's how much this match really matters.
Exactly.
But I have very little notes to this match.
You do what?
I have very little notes to this match.
Okay, yeah, that's
I don't
that's
have
appropriate.
much to say about this except it was full of a bunch of randomly put together associations other than the Don Callis, aka the hot dog man, like association.
Yeah.
But I still watched it only because I don't know. I've got a soft spot for watching the Pebble. AKA Ricky Starks.
Yeah. I gave this.
Ricky Starks.
It's like looking at like a midget. It is a vanilla midget version of The Rock.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like it's comedy to me.
That's another guy that they need to be concentrating on.
Yes.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
He is talented. I feel like they were,
for sure. They were doing it. I mean, obviously, some of the old Punk stuff affected some of the stuff he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan Danielson stepped in, great strap match. Ricky Starks is like, I saw Ricky. I went to Double or Nothing 2 years ago when Punk won the title from Hangman, and there was the 4-way tag team match where like Ricky Starks was tagging with Hobbs.
Okay.
And that was the first time I saw him do the when he walks the ropes.
Yeah.
The little like thing, and I was like, that dude's good. Like that dude's good. I like him.
That was probably the highlight of this match because he did it again.
Yeah.
This would be,
I'm bored with. I'm sorry. Let's just get this Sting thing on the road and go ahead and, hopefully he doesn't wrestle Ric Flair at Revolution.
Oh my God.
Like this Sting thing, I'm just like, yeah, I get it. And like, that was kind of like the silver lining in this match for me. Like, it's just like, his kind of like swan song to New York.
Yeah.
That was going to be the last time he wrestled there. So cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Sting's been around a long time. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm over it in a negative way, really. I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, cool. Like, whatever. Like, all right. Yeah. That's fine.
I agree.
I don't know who else was in this match. Guevara.
Yeah, Guevara was in it. Yeah, it's just like the rest. They got to
It was
include
thrown
Guevara
together.
on their
If
pay-per-view.
This match was thrown together because of everything else. Too, I think there was the whole thing with let's see, they turned Guevara face really quick right before this, right?
And they had to do it because this match was originally supposed to be centered around Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Kenny
Kenny
Omega.
But since
yeah.
Kenny has exited the picture, now this match has begun to make a lot less sense.
Right.
So
They really, honestly, can we be honest? They didn't need this match on the pay-per-view.
no, they didn't.
Yeah.
They could have at least
No.
and that was my critique of this whole pay-per-view. There were matches that existed on here that could have easily been replaced by matches that were actual title matches. Think about it.
Yeah.
What happened to the trios title?
Yeah.
Why didn't they defend any of those?
Right.
You know,
Right.
The acclaim. I love the
Acclaim
acclaim.
should have been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They could have put Hook versus Wheeler Yuta
Yes.
on the actual card.
Yes.
yeah.
100%.
They could have thrown this match as another 8-man just on the 0 hour if they want. I think two things happen though. Like this is just my opinion.
Even the regular tag titles.
Number
What
one-
happened to those?
Right.
You want to get Sting to do his last match in New York.
Yes, that's the big part of it.
That was probably important.
Yeah.
Number two, Chris Jericho is not going to be taken off a pay-per-view.
Right. There's politics for sure. There's. I was.
Ever take it off pay-per-view.
Yeah. You'll never
Even
ever
though
fire
I
me
like-
from this
I
company.
like to say Chris Jericho made the list. He
Nice.
made the
Nice.
list.
He's made his own list before, and then he left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That, which by the way, KO, real quick, he mentioned that he wasn't a big fan of that angle.
I didn't even like the spots. In this
Really?
match.
Yeah, he wasn't a big fan of the KO Jericho connection, and then when he finally, because he was like, he was like,
It's the last entertaining thing that Chris Jericho has really done.
yeah, that and
I
the
feel-
Bublé.
I mean, everything after
Le
that is
Champion.
left.
Yeah, Le Champion was decent, but
Yeah.
but no, I agree. But KO, he mentioned in an interview, he's like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of that because I knew it wasn't going anywhere, and he was focused on his own career because he was, he was on a trajectory up, and Jericho was on his way out. So it was like,
No.
So
It should have went to them breaking up and having a match for the Universal title, but now you throw Goldberg in there.
Yeah.
And it was
Goldberg beat him. Yeah.
So,
They did KO wrong on
Vince
that.
was hard on Goldberg
Yeah.
at the time, which I mean, now not so much. Goldberg's mad at Vince, and I'm like, well, I mean, the dude that made you a promise pretty much isn't in that position anymore. So
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what you want.
But yeah, so coming back to this match, I give it a C minus, honestly. C minus.
I give it a C minus, a D plus.
Yeah.
Give it a
right.
D.
You give it a D, yeah.
D.
Yeah.
Right. Again, this is the first C I think that Bleacher
Sting being
Report.
in this match
Oh,
lifted it up,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a swan song. But
Yeah.
if Sting wasn't in this match would probably get an F or a D.
100%. This was a filler
For
at
sure.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Julia Hart versus Abaddon. So I like Abaddon as a character. They should do more with them. Now I'm learning. I'm getting it. They should definitely do more with them and build them up as a proper like freak, like a proper, creepy character and give more promo to their character. I think
Like they did with the Fiend.
yeah, this could be that. Ever since I saw them, and the first time I saw them on AEW, I admittedly I didn't know about Abaddon before AEW, but when I saw them for the first time, I was like, damn, that is a intriguing character, and nothing had even happened yet. It was just the presentation. It was just I'm not too well versed or educated on their wrestling ability, but but I don't know.
I like Abaddon. I think they should have used them more when they first debuted Abaddon.
Mhm.
I kind of honestly did not care about this match at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was the when the match started off, the crowd started chanting, "This is spooky."
Yeah,
Like,
right,
they did that whole
right.
thing, and that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, okay, this is a spooky thing. I thought this match, I was less interested in this match than I was LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt in the Mountain Dew
Yes. Yes.
whatever match.
Yes.
Was this match better? I don't know. It was, I mean, obviously Julia Hart just won the title, so I didn't think at all that Julia Hart was going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a good first opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it was the opposite of what the Tony Storm match was.
They
I
got
don't think it necessarily built Julia Hart up anymore. It gave her a win.
Yeah.
It gave her a defense. It gave her a win.
But that's what I'm saying. I think they need to create this aura around Abaddon where the wrestlers are actually afraid of them, like how they did with Taker in the beginning. You know, Taker was this, like, what do I do with that? Right? That's I feel like,
right, but like, what do you with Abaddon versus Julia Hart? They're both supposed to be spooky and scary in their own way. So it's like, I feel like Julia Hart should have faced someone else.
Sure.
To get her spookiness over.
That's fair.
With the title.
Yeah.
Abaddon should have already been facing other people to get her spookiness, their spookiness over.
Right.
And then at some point you have them come to a head.
Right.
And then it's spooky versus spooky.
Yeah.
And then, but this was just immediately, okay, well, you're spooky, you're going to have a match. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. But not just this match. They don't really make Abaddon's opponents in general be like affected by, by the spookiness. Because I'm going to be honest, Abaddon, I would pick as far as who takes it for spookiness. Abaddon clearly takes it. I believe it a lot more, right? Like,
or started this, I don't know, give me a trio with Abaddon, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue.
Yeah.
And have them do that. I mean, obviously that's like, this is the House of Black sorority or whatever. But,
Well, the House of Black sorority thing already kind of sells itself. It's just they need to elevate it more.
Yeah.
The problem with Abaddon is they haven't done anything with them that would, as it is right now, they have a character look without any background spookiness to it. It's like if I came out and I wore a Halloween costume with no context. You'd be like, okay, nice costume, but where's this from? The character of Abaddon, the lore needs to be built up to accompany the look so that moving forward they can be intimidated.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
And it's not too late. They can still do that. So
at least with Julia Hart, you have the House of Black.
Right.
I mean, it could be done better, obviously, but there's still some sort of lore to their stable.
Here's the thing with Julia Hart, she becomes spooky because she's part of House of Black. If she was never part of that group, I don't think she could sell it as well. I'm not critiquing her. I just think it's just not in her bag of tricks. But Abaddon always, like, they don't have to do much, and it's like, oh shit, what is that? Right? It's that question I think we all ask, and that's why they gotta pay better attention to that. So,
side note, when are we gonna start calling Sky Blue Sky Black?
Oh,
because now she's in the House of Black and has her heel turn as well. Like, when are we gonna do something more with her character, and maybe Sky Black would be kind of, I don't know.
I like that. But the only thing with that is Sky Blue's just starting to ascend in AEW. So, like, her name is starting to make the rounds.
But I mean, you can. It's still, which is why the transition's easier to make. It's like, and that's why people can't stop calling Adam Copeland Edge. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. When you've gone a long time with a name, it's harder to transition to another. She's just starting. It's really easy for people to forget about Sky Blue.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
if you want to keep Sky Blue, that's your face character. When you go into heel character, you've got your persona, your Sky Black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's cool.
I agree with that. completely.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Oh, there was I think that. Oh no, that's in another match.
But so yeah,
Um,
let's go over our grades real quick on this because I think that's more than enough time on this match.
C minus.
C+.
C minus, C plus. I'd say C minus. Yeah, C minus. Bleacher Report for those keeping score, C plus. All right, my favorite match of the night: Christian Cage, Adam Copeland, TNT title on the line. I loved how this match started and how Christian sold it because it was not in frame and he created the emotion for me. Like, Adam made his entrance. He's in the ring. Camera goes to...
Did you notice his gear?
Oh yeah.
It was the gear that he
Well,
wore
I
against
noticed
Mick
it when they
Foley
said it.
in,
Yeah.
in his match with Mick Foley. And they also alluded to the spot, even though they didn't do
Right.
it, when he tried to take out
Yeah,
the table with the lighter fluid.
Yeah.
So there were
right.
there were homages
Which-
paid to that match.
Yes.
I feel like that was that exact gear, but like it immediately reminded me of just like that era of Edge when you not only had that match, but then Edge was like strictly in ECW
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
And then him and Foley got together and was like tearing down stuff. And like when he interfered in the John Cena
Mhm.
RVD match,
Mhm.
like
It was that
it
vicious
was like
side.
that
Yes.
street fight Edge,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what he
Yeah,
would
yeah.
wear in the street fight.
Right.
Like
That's the Money in
so,
the
yeah.
Bank cash in you're talking about, right? With the RVD John Cena. He cashed in his Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah, it was a cash in, but it was like an actual match.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, like he had the helmet on and then he
Right.
took it off.
I
and
remember that.
Revealed himself. Yeah.
That was dope. Yeah.
It reminded me of that whole era of Edge. And yeah, like I said, like it just reminded me, you know how like some wrestlers have that certain thing they wear when they have like a street fight or
Right.
a Fall Count Anywhere
Yeah.
fight or a Chicago Brawl
Yeah.
fight or whatever. That was his street fight gear to me.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, so that opening moment, Christian was coming out the best way he knows how, and he had to show the break in his psyche because, oh shit, here comes Adam. And you never saw Adam till the very end because it was just all in his face. And to me, I thought that was masterfully done because he was just like, oh, and then he actually, I think, said, he's like, oh, what the fuck? And he like, and then here comes Adam. I love that. I don't know. I love that. And I thought that set the pace for the rest of the match. And psychologically, I was hooked from that moment. What do you guys think?
I like the pace of the match. Had some nice spots in there. The little homages to the past.
Yeah.
And you really, really were invested in this, which was really important. Like your emotions were really vested into wanting Christian to get his comeuppance and Edge to go over. And they gave you that.
They did.
But at the same time, they're like, okay, we gave you a taste, but no. We're going to go back and we're going to play with you some more with the twist at the end, obviously, with Luchasaurus relinquishing his shot to Christian and
Kill switch. Yeah. No, I agree. Two things
I'm still used to calling
I know. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Two things if I have to be nitpicky, 2 points of criticism, and it has nothing. One of them was for the actual match, and the other one was in commentary. The match part, the lighter fluid part, spot. I think it took too long. I think it took too long with the lighter fluid. He was, Adam was trying to make sure that it'll light up, obviously.
Yeah.
And the reason it took too long
Because it went out, right?
It went out the first
Didn't
time.
it go out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was first time it went out, and then he added more lighter fluid. Thank God there was a whole full bottle that he found next to the stairs, because if he didn't have that,
He just happened to find that full bottle.
well, no, it's not that.
Lighter fluid.
What I'm saying is I don't think that was a planned spot for the lighter fluid. I feel like he looked and he found it, but that's kind of how it came off. Maybe it was
Maybe, yeah.
maybe. But my point I'm trying to make is, all the time he's doing that, Nick Wayne is just selling that he's he's just on the ropes. But like, he could have easily seen what he's doing, but he just sold it for way too long, and it became kind of got in its own way. And then when he powerbombed him, the table didn't even break, and he just fucking fell, on the.
That was a nasty bump.
Yeah,
Like, it didn't look like it was terribly. It looked less dangerous than Mick Foley hitting Edge through the table.
Right.
But that bump at first, like, he overshot the table kind of and like flipped over, and I was like, ugh. Like, I got a little scared for Nick Wayne there.
Yeah, so that was my criticism, and the only reason I think that happened is because of how quickly the fire was going out. He had to deliver it quick. But there's also another way to do that where the fire doesn't go out. Just use a different fluid that lasts a little bit longer.
A different fluid than the Foley match?
Well, the Foley match, I think the fire lasted longer.
Did they use a cheaper fluid?
Yeah, I don't know. AEW has a bigger budget, I think. But also WWE now, with being being bought out, but they're also having a higher budget. Anyway, point being, is that was the one part I was a little bit not happy with. The other part, when Adam wins the match, and here comes Kill Switch to cash in, and obviously Christian takes it and he wins. I was not a fan of Shivani saying, well, it's official, this is the shortest reign as a TNT champion. I'm like, you don't got to say that. Like, kind of just, you know what I mean? Like, that part is like, it didn't add to the story. It doesn't do anything. It's like, you're just
Tony
like.
Schiavone has no allegiance to Adam Cole. He has no allegiance. He didn't grow up, or he didn't spend his time commentating.
I know. That's fair.
Listen, Tony Schiavone has no allegiance to anybody except Sting.
Right. Yeah.
He even said, he's like, I save my energy just to be able to say that on each show.
Tony's still working for WCW in his mind. Yeah. But
I thought it was a cool shot. Like, okay, so we talk about how this was reminiscent of like their kind of Money in the Bank cash in out of nowhere. And I thought to myself, like, so they had the thing kind of where, for me, I didn't see Kill Switch come out. I just suddenly saw him rise behind Edge, and I thought that was a cool shot.
Me too. I didn't see
it. Kind
him.
of reminded me of is that Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle in TNA? There's that shot where, like, I think Angle hits him with an Angle slam.
Yeah.
And then he just gets up, and there's like that. It's like one of the coolest shots.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I feel like, and it was like really, so it reminded me of that. So I thought that was like a thing, and like it made me think like, oh, and Money in the Bank, like they always have somebody come running down.
Mm-hmm.
They never have them kind of just show up behind somebody and like. And they're like, oh, like the way they shoot it, like, and obviously, something like that, a shot like that, WWE would obviously master that shot.
Absolutely.
I thought about that, and I thought of like how cool that looked.
Yeah.
It ended the way it ended, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Me too.
It's fine. The match itself was really good. I think I've heard people say this, they go to the rubber match or whatever, or they have like a third match, and it's a legit TLC match.
Yeah.
Where they have to like climb the ladder for it or whatever. I don't know what they would call it, because I don't think they can call it a TLC match.
No.
they would probably just have to call it a ladder match, but involve tables and chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good.
I agree with you. I'm just going to say one thing. If they go that route, they need to bring the Dudleys, and the Hardys are already there. Bring them in, and they can become like they're the friends, and they're trying. Then and each of the tag teams takes one side.
Do the Dudleys have a legend?
Idea. Somehow, I think that like they're gonna wait until eventually Christian makes like either Christian makes a face turn or Edge makes a heel turn to match the other, and then they'll probably bring in the Hardys or something to make them retire.
Well, what I'm saying is not.
Doesn't WWE have the Dudleys and the Legends contract right now?
Is that what it is? Well, Bubba Ray.
I, for some reason, have that remembrance of like once Edge went to AEW, it was kind of a thing where WWE got them at least in some type of Devon and Bubba Ray made amends, and they got them in some sort of like contract like that, and people would be like, "Oh, WWE probably did that, so AEW couldn't have Dudleys versus Hardys versus."
I don't have enough knowledge on that.
I don't either.
You know,
I don't either.
I don't
that
know.
would be
That's
really
the thing.
crooked if they did.
Now I don't either. But here's the only
Sounds
thing.
like a very WWE
Smart,
thing to do, though.
but
For
crooked.
sure.
So does
Like,
legend contract means you're no longer eligible to wrestle anywhere else?
I think so because so remember when Bret Hart was supposed to show up when FTR and CM Punk was there at the same time?
Yeah.
But then there was a conflict of that because they were going to sign WWE was going to sign Bret Hart to another like short stint Legends type of thing. I don't know. Like I don't know the specifics.
But that I feel like that needs to be agreed upon.
That does I think that would be in the contract that you can't go do another major promotion. You could probably go
without
do
permission,
something in
without
Japan
permission.
or like go or something like that.
There's
but
been
they won't let
exceptions,
them.
but they need to give you permission, and they pay you a certain amount. You get a right even without working.
Right.
Even if they don't use you on TV, you get a regular stipend every year of being on the Legends contract that ensures that you have incentive not to violate that contract.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But assuming that's not the case, what I was saying, and you're saying something different than I'm saying. What I'm saying is the rubber match here between Adam and Christian, if it is a TLC match without it being called a TLC match, I'm saying let the Hardys and the Dudleys come in, and each tag team is on the side of one of the two. So like the Dudleys maybe are like on Christian's side, so they're heels. Yeah. And then Hardys are on Adam's side, is what I'm saying.
I mean, technically, you could always do because I mean, we talk about the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and the Hardys. I mean, originally though, it was just Hardys versus Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
In a ladder match, so you can always do like where, so Adam's gonna need two people to watch his back because of Nick Wayne and Kill Switch.
Yeah.
The Hardys show up to do that.
That'll be
It's fine. I mean, that's good enough.
That's good.
I feel like.
Yeah. I
don't want to see Jeff Hardy do too much.
Well, that's the thing. You're right. Yeah.
I don't want to see him do too much.
Yeah.
So that's me personally.
That includes drinking.
Fans think
Yeah. I agree with that. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But this match, the only couple things I mentioned that I didn't like about it is why I give it an A-. Otherwise, I thought it was a great match. What do you give it?
I don't think I was as critical as you were with this.
Yeah.
But I understand why you were. I mean, I feel like you've been really invested in the storyline, so you're probably a little bit more. You scrutinize it a little bit more. You have it under a bigger microscope.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it an A.
Okay. Keith?
I give it an A-.
All right.
A-.
Okay.
No.
And Bleacher gives it who gives a shit? They give it an A-. But yeah, so we're moving on to two more matches
of the evening.
What's that?
The headliner of the evening.
Oh, Eddie
All right.
Kingston. Yeah, Eddie.
Oh,
It's Eddie Kingston, John Moxley,
yeah.
but he was one of the headliners because he was
Yeah.
New York's boy. Eddie Kingston, John Moxley. We talked about this earlier. Continental Championship. John Moxley was obviously ahead in the points. Eddie Kingston was the underdog, clearly, and these two have a lot of history. They mentioned all of that. Eddie took it. Not in the best way. I didn't like the finish, but it was a decent match. I'll let you guys start. Keith, what'd you think?
I thought this match was pretty cut and dry. I think we kind of saw the story formulating, especially once he beat Danielson. I was like, oh, he's gonna beat Moxley.
Yeah.
Just to complete that whole of people he couldn't beat. He couldn't beat Claudio for a long time.
Yeah.
He beat Claudio. I thought the match was pretty cut and dry. I enjoyed the match. I think I wrote really good match. I like Moxley showing respect at the end. The most underwhelming part to me was they had the two belts that Eddie Kingston already had, and then they were going to unveil the third belt.
Yeah.
The way the belt looks, underwhelming to me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a belt snob though, I mean, it's good enough to be carrying three belts.
Yeah.
That aesthetic is always great. If you had that Continental title by itself, I don't know how great it would look.
Right.
But yeah, good end to a good story. Interesting to see what they do with Eddie after this.
Right.
Because now I don't really have a vision of what Eddie does besides defend the belts competitively. Probably a decent ROH run to keep ROH going.
Yeah.
It was very cut and dry.
Yeah.
And it's very good. I give this match an A.
Okay. All right.
Give this match an A.
Okay.
I think also Danielson on commentary.
Yeah.
Love that.
I like
how
Taz,
Danielson wouldn't admit, they're like, you got to give Eddie Kingston props,
Yeah.
and Danielson's like, well, I will say this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even during the whole match, he was like, he was building up how he still considers Eddie a bum,
Right.
but
Right.
he highlighted things that Eddie was good at.
Yeah.
As far as between Moxley and Eddie Kingston is probably the better striker.
Yeah.
As his character tells that story. Yeah, it was good.
I agree. I think
hometown match.
Yeah. I agree. I think Bryan Danielson being a little petty on commentary was good for he was really selling that the ego, the sword,
which could go back to your thought about how the first 8-man could mean something. That group won.
Yeah.
They have a 4-way. Danielson wins that 4-way, challenges Eddie again for the belt. That could lead to that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I thought it was a good match overall. Yeah.
So A for you. What about for you?
Well, I'm a sucker for what JR would probably call a slobber knocker, because that's what it was. This was basically two guys with mean streak attitudes beating each other's ass.
And they're good friends, by the way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they have great chemistry inside the square circle. Not much to say about that. That would add on to everything that was just mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to why you didn't like the finish, because I actually did like the finish.
Okay, tell me why.
And because for starters, that's Eddie's move.
Right.
It's not like something that was accidental or was just like some planned spot or whatever. They were in the middle of like a striking battle.
Yeah.
And as Danielson alluded to even in the commentary, that was his strong point, what he held over Moxley. So for him to use the one thing that he has over Moxley to eventually be what won the match for him and what caught Moxley off guard,
Yeah.
I thought it was fitting. Do I think it was like the most brilliant finish ever? No, but I thought it was probably the best, the finish that would be the best explained in regards to Eddie Kingston's character, because I don't think that you're going to see him pull out some sort of weird technical move.
Yeah.
I don't think that this was the kind of match where we were expecting some sort of swerve. I thought that two guys were going at it and using all the tools that were at their disposal to the best of their ability, and the guy that had the opening to use their offensive move won. And yeah, I mean, even Moxley, and not to say Moxley didn't, Moxley hit the Death Rider during that match, and I find it always interesting. They can't seem to make up their mind about that move. On one hand, on one show they'll call it the Death Rider, and on another show they'll go back like this show and call it the Paradigm Shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like at some point there was supposed to be a difference between the two. Like, I feel like they tried to establish that like early on.
I heard that too.
But like, I think it's end up being, because it's just basically, I think the Paradigm Shift is the underhook, boom, DDT.
Yeah.
But then when it's the Death Rider, it's supposed to be like more
it's elevated.
Yeah. Or but I feel like they just kind of blended together.
Yeah.
As of late. And then, when he doesn't necessarily pin them right away from it, it's the Paradigm Shift.
Yeah.
But when he does, it's the Death Rider. I don't know.
Yeah.
So basically, it's their little shot at WWE. Your version's inferior, but our version.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny. I think, yeah.
What was it called in WWE?
And WWE was the Paradigm Shift. In AEW, it is the Death Rider.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But did you say that they call it Paradigm Shift in AEW as well?
Yeah, they did it in this match.
Yeah.
But like he said, in the originally, I think that they were trying to distinguish it. Like the original, just standard double underhook DDT was supposed to be the Paradigm Shift, and the elevated one where he lifts him, and then drops him was supposed to be the Death Rider. Right. But now they just use them interchangeably.
Have you noticed that more and more, like especially during the tournament, Moxley has been using the curb stomp?
Yeah.
Like he's like throwing the curb stomp in there randomly.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's a hello Seth like type of deal. But
well, maybe not so subtle, because on that list of 50 wrestlers, didn't Seth get ranked under Moxley? Wasn't it Seth, then Moxley, then Roman?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I think
it was Moxley at number 2.
PWI. Well, that one year Moxley was number 1 on PWI for sure.
But yeah, this year the top 3 were all the Shield.
He held the company down for however long. But yeah, I thought it was a cut and dry match, man, and it was good and it was satisfying. And now we'll see. I think Moxley deserves a break finally. I remember he was supposed to take a break the first CM Punk incident,
right?
And then he didn't.
If they give him a break,
he's been there ever since. He had that great feud with I thought it was a great feud with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah,
excellent feud.
Like between Orange Cassidy and Moxley, those are the two workhorses of
Absolutely.
AEW without question.
I don't know if they can give him a break though. I mean, they can
Dar-
obviously. But
Darby Allin too.
the
but yeah.
problem with the giving him a break right now
Yeah.
that AEW runs into is, they've just okay. So MJF, I don't think is coming back right away. I think he's
Right.
clearly, even in this match that we're about to talk about, his abilities were clearly hindered, and he needs rest. He has a torn labrum, among other things, and
He wrote that letter. Did you read that thing that he wrote?
I did not.
No.
So on Twitter, he posted basically a letter that he wrote. I don't think it was like distinctly to anyone. It was just like to wrestling
Yeah.
as a whole. He was just like, I'm hurting. Like I'm in pain.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, to be fair, MJF has wrestled a lot in the past year. Like ever since he became champion, and then they amped up kind of his schedule.
Yeah.
It was more he used to pride himself in like being an attraction and not having to wrestle a bunch. And as soon as he became champion, which I think was necessary,
Yeah.
he proved what he could do for any naysayers or whatever. Which I guess we're talking about this match now.
Yeah. We can talk about it.
I was just gonna end on that closing note that they're gonna lose MJF for a while. They're gonna lose Kenny Omega, another top star.
Yeah.
They could be in the future on the verge of losing Jericho.
Right.
And I think who else was I was thinking? There was somebody else I was thinking, but they're gonna have to figure out how to shift around their roster to kind of cover those top slots until those people are available to come back.
So you still got Edge and Christian. You still got that whole thing. I think you leading up to Revolution, you concentrate on Sting, obviously.
Yeah.
But also at the beginning of this year, going into the summer, Danielson's going to be a thing because he made that announcement that by August, he's going to, I don't know if it's a full retirement or if he's just going to quit for a while and just not be around. So you got those.
Yeah. And the pillars they can push. I think the other pillars,
You always got Orange Cassidy too.
Yeah.
You always got
Orange Cassidy is ready, but I don't know if all the pillars.
And I guess you got Eddie Kingston now,
Yeah.
since he's the Triple Crown, winner.
Yeah, you've got options, but you definitely have Strickland who could easily slide in any of those
Strickland
spots. But I'm just saying that they got to figure it out moving forward.
Honestly, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing because now they can actually
up a little bit.
focus on the quality of these characters.
Yeah.
You can spend a little more time on developing these guys like the Swerve Strickland and let him continue that push. That's fine.
TK, take some notes.
Yeah, exactly.
And moving forward.
So I think we all agree this match got an A. So
I can't disagree. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the first one we all agreed on, by the way, the same exact rate.
Now we're all gonna go ahead and
speaking of MJF,
MJF and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, MJF and Samoa Joe AEW Championship match. MJF comes out with Samoa comes out and then MJF comes out with a cool little promo video before he came out. I like that. It was a little funny, like New York, everybody wearing the scarf. It was cool. He's our scumbag. That was the whole thing about that. And then comes out, and then here comes Adam Cole, baby. He brings him out to be on his side, and I thought
looking suspicious as hell.
You thought he was suspicious?
As soon as he came out, I was like, all right, well, my dreams are shot. Like, there's no other reason for him to be out there unless they drew me in and made me feel safe in another way. Like, it just more so I was like, okay, it's probably going to be Adam Cole.
Who did you think was the devil initially? Oh, yeah. Cardona.
Well, it was like it was a difference between who I wanted it to be and who I thought initially, before Punk signed to WWE, I was like, if the Devil ends up being Punk, I mean,
I know.
that's the biggest swerve to everybody.
I wanted that
and
too.
that would be stellar.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wanted that
you
so
know.
bad. Yeah.
but I was the worst case scenario for me was the rumors that it would be Jack Perry. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that would have been.
I don't need him to be the top. Like, there's no reason for him to. I mean, I get it. Like, he's one of the pillars,
Yeah.
and it would have been like that sort of thing. But first of all, I don't think Jack Perry is in a position to be the leader of a stable.
Right.
This is what I told you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I don't think he's. I think he could do something with. My thing with Jack Perry, if they bring him back, I don't know what the deal is with that, but his name should be Real Glass Jack Perry. Like, I feel like he should like go on a tear. He should talk about it. Like, I mean, as far as I know, in all this situation, Jack Perry doesn't have an NDA.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Jack Perry could say whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, clearly he wasn't there for the brawl out.
Yeah.
But he was there for his own personal situation.
Yeah.
I say, you want to make him a heel like they were trying to do. Just go ahead and let him go crazy with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, give him limits, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to give too much to where then CM Punk has to say something on WWE television and allude to that.
Right.
Because, I mean, obviously, who's going to be better at doing that? Probably CM Punk. But yeah, like I think Jack Perry, Real Glass Jack Perry. I think that should be his thing.
So with that said, what were your thoughts on this match and going into the reveal of Adam Cole being the Devil and how
this match? So I guess wasn't sure that MJF was going to lose the title.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily sure.
That's a good thing in my opinion. Yeah.
Because I thought that even if they do the reveal of the Devil, then that would just continue.
Yeah.
MJF having to deal with that,
right.
Whatever. With that being said, I thought the match was it was a less competitive match for MJF for obvious reasons. Like, I mean, building up the injuries and the schedule that he's had.
Yeah.
It was fine. I think it played up to like all the story points. Joe was Joe.
Yeah.
I was kind of upset in this whole match that we didn't get I was hoping that, so how he kept trying to do the kangaroo kick.
Oh yeah, we didn't get it. Yeah.
I was hoping that he tried to do the kangaroo kick off the top rope. And then Joe did that spot where he just walks away.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was hoping, like, maybe happened. That didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. We get to the finish. First there's the whole Max has a chance to get the ring from Adam Cole.
What was that
Adam
about?
Cole does it. Yeah. So I was like, here we go. Like, because I thought maybe that was just going to be a part where he took the ring out, hit him, or like, fuck you, or like something like that. But they still put you in a safe place. So we're like, maybe it's not Adam Cole. Because then he found the ring, gave him the ring. But as soon as he got the ring on, Joe catches him.
That was well done, by the way.
That was well done.
Yeah.
I had a different opinion of the finish when it happened than I do now. Okay. When it first happened, it was more like, I was like, wait, what? What happened? Like, oh, did he just lose?
Yeah, exactly.
But I find it kind of interesting. I think MJF has always done a good job of taking the most simple tropes in wrestling and making it a big deal. And I mean, when's the last time we saw a championship match or a big match where a person's a big face, person's a big heel, and they do the three of the arm and it just fucking falls, man? I mean, kind of innovative.
Yeah.
I think
They don't even do that anymore in WWE. It's more just one
Yeah.
now, and it's done.
like you're conditioned to be like, oh, the arm's gonna go up on 3.
Right.
Like so I thought that was interesting. Like it's sitting better with me now than it was
Yep.
when it happened.
The crowd hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's New York.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
They started chanting bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did like the way the referee played it up too. Like the way he reacted
Yes.
to it, because he was like, wait, what? He was like,
Right.
no, you're the champion. You're not supposed to go
He
down.
sold
on
it. He
3.
sold it really well.
Yeah.
You're right.
I thought the reveal of Adam Cole as the devil, even though at this point most people are probably 85-90% sure it was Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I thought the reveal was done very well.
Me too.
I often think that sometimes AEW does a thing where the lights go out and the lights are off for way too long.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But I thought the timing of it worked well.
Yeah.
The whole like him saying, no, don't hit Adam. No, don't hit MJF, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly lights come back on. Adam's demeanor is changed. He's
Yeah.
in the thing. He wipes his hair back.
Very well
When the
done.
other people reveal themselves, I mean, I wasn't any more like, oh my God, Warlow was in it. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Warlow was in the group.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about. I feel like they've dropped the ball on pushing Warlow the way they were trying to push him at first.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could turn around now. Who knows? It is interesting that Adam Cole is the devil, but also Adam Cole basically handed Samoa Joe the championship.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Well, wasn't he like Joe kind of turned on MJF last week before this pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, but it was because he made a deal with Adam Cole.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's like Joe made a deal with just a dude in a mask. Like, I think he knew it was Adam Cole, like, in the grand scheme of the story.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You mean, so it's just like weird that, like, because I mean, obviously Adam Cole and MJF's thing started off, it was about the championship.
Right.
It was about the belt. And so now he doesn't care about the belt anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Or maybe it's the story where his hate for MJF is more than winning the championship.
Yeah.
But the reveal was good. The way they did it, and it kind of, once the reveal happened, they beat him down, and then the pay-per-view went off.
Yeah.
So it didn't linger too long.
Yeah.
It makes you probably want to see Dynamite.
Yeah.
If they don't open up Dynamite with Adam Cole,
Yeah.
that would be stupid.
Right.
I also think this is an opportunity for them to first time. I don't think AEW has done it where they just open up the show and somebody's in the ring.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they should do that.
100%.
They're just standing in the ring. They don't have the opening bumper, like just all of a sudden it's just on and they're all standing in the ring. And
Yeah.
I don't know what city they're in for Dynamite,
Yeah.
but I would imagine there would be a bunch of boos.
Yeah. I think it's in New
there should
Jersey.
be.
I think it's in New Jersey.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, possibly there'll be a lot of heat there.
Yeah. 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 No.
And yeah, it was a good ending to the World's End, which is also great that it was named that, and like
Mhm.
it was somebody's world ending.
Yes.
Cool. Like cool. I give it an A.
All right.
I give it an A. It's more so less because of the wrestling and more because of the angle. But
Yeah.
I give it an A.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay. Great. All right. What do you got? What do you got, Shiki?
Oh, God. Where do I begin? Okay. So, I have a lot of thoughts on this matchup. I'm trying to figure out a way to condense them all.
Mhm.
I'll start with this. I, from the very beginning, had guessed that Adam Cole I mean, there wasn't even a doubt in my mind or another possibility. I was very adamant that Adam Cole was going to be the devil.
Okay.
Whereas you, Pedge, thought that there may have been multiple people playing the devil.
Yeah.
I actually think throughout the course of this storyline, they changed what the result was going to be. I originally believed that this was going to end up being an Adam Cole MJF angle that culminated with with these two going at it for the title.
Okay.
Where I think that plans may have changed. We trace it going back to CM Punk.
Yes.
Yeah.
CM Punk's departure kind of freed up Joe to do something else instead of continuing what he may have continued with CM Punk.
And his ROH run, the TV championship. All of that, I think, was a part of it. Yeah.
Because for a number of reasons.
The win at Wembley, maybe, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Punk just beating Joe at Wembley.
Yeah.
I don't think that was part of this.
Right.
I know.
No.
I think that they, but I don't think that Joe would have, kind of like when he lost to MJF, he didn't let it go.
Yeah.
I don't think that Joe would have been so quick to let this go. I think they would have aimed for an AEW trilogy.
Yeah. They didn't have a rubber on that one, right? Yeah.
They didn't have the rubber.
No.
The other, but the other thing about the other reason why is AEW had all these storylines revolving around MJF, which they couldn't. They kind of wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
They had the Wardlow thing, but they didn't know what to do with it other than having him squash people and how to build it because they already had, the Devil storyline going on. Initially, even before the Devil storyline was a thing, they had. I still refer to I know they have another name in AEW because of the rosters, slightly different, but it's basically the members of the Kingdom.
Yes, it is the
ROH.
Kingdom. They call it that, yeah.
So, it's the Kingdom from ROH, basically trying to pry Adam Cole away. So, how do you get all these things to get wrapped up in one bow while still making it make sense? And I think, and then not only that, I think plans also changed again in terms of how they wanted to fill in the lead up to this with Adam Cole's legitimate injury. I think the approach and the setup and the execution of how they originally wanted the story to go would have been different. But with Adam Cole getting injured, and let's just say the Kingdom probably weren't credible opponents at that point in time, and Wardlow just coming back with no build-up, they created a legitimate threat who had now been freed up because CM Punk has left the company and there's no continuing feud with this. They got to give Joe direction. The MJF's injuries are rapidly accumulating. They got to get them off TV, and they got to do it in a way that makes sense where all these characters' arcs kind of come together, so they're not lingering. Like, for example, like if they would have just had Adam Cole be the Devil, but like these guys were not a part of the group, and it wasn't some other random guys like, say, a Jack Perry or something, then how do you tie up all these storylines that were just out there and explain what happened to them? Each of those guys legitimately that took off their mask had a reason to be there.
Yeah.
Wardlow had motive to team up because of the revenge.
Mm-hmm.
The Kingdom had it because they felt, quote unquote, in the beginning that they had stole Adam Cole, and there's still it's still up in the air. I don't know how they're going to explain it, but it very well could have been that Adam Cole may not have started on that route.
Yeah.
He may have been convinced to go to Devil on that route shortly after he lost that title match to MJF and couldn't bear the loss.
Yeah.
From that point on, the injury, and then these people get in his ear, like he really doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
He is a scumbag, and he says it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Joe, how it ties up, because that guy was willing to do whatever he thought humanly possible to achieve his ultimate goal, which was to get the title.
Yeah.
Adam Cole's goal, which is why they have the tag titles, the ROH tag titles, and why possibly they didn't go the route with him completing the title run, is because they knew that MJF was going to be off television for a while. So there was, even if Cole would have won, there would have been continuing feud, but MJF wouldn't have been able to continue it because of his injuries.
Yeah.
So they needed somebody to carry it while Cole finishes healing up and MJF heals up from his injury. Someone's still got to represent the company. Here is coming Joe. The explanation is I despise you so much that I wanted to take away everything from you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have no tag titles. Now you have no world title. Now you have no friends, and you're beaten and broken.
Mm.
And I think that image at the end where he's sitting on the chair with the devil's mask, and towards the end of the disbelief kind of drove that home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, getting to the match itself was what it was. Was it the match that they gave us in the first go around? No, but I didn't expect that, because I knew MGF going in was going to be limited physically to what he could do.
Yeah.
The only critique I didn't of what I didn't like about the match is some of the match to me felt like a little bit of fan service. And what I mean by that is, like, it was a solid match. There's nothing wrong with it. But, there's supposed to be a lot of stake with MJF. And this is, like, supposed to be like a fight for his life.
Yeah.
But he's sitting there trying to play around again, trying to emulate Joe's muscle buster.
Mm-hmm.
Or trying to pander to the crowd and get them to look at me. I'm going to try the kangaroo kick.
Yeah.
It's like, you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like, you're in the fight for your life. This is the time where we should be seeing desperate MJF. Like, he should have gone for the ring, or if possible, no matter what the finish was, earlier, and did every dirty scumbag tactic that he's known for in trying to retain. The other thing is, which has nothing to do with MJF himself or Joe, I don't think that the ring fumbling came off as believable. I like the after execution with the lights, the imagery, the mask, but when he fumbles for that ring, I feel like there should have been some sort of subtle, even if MJF didn't see it because he's so busy getting choked out of it, but maybe there should have been some subtle tell that, like, some little sad, like maybe a smirk or something, like, oh, I can't find the ring, versus, like, or something that would have, something subtle, but something that would have drove the story better. That being said, like, the way they execute it, maybe it's not exactly to my taste. But the thing that I can say is that it made sense. And as long as it made sense, whether you like it or not, I would have liked it. I can't complain because if it makes sense, it's better for it to make sense than for them to come up with some oddball, execution of it that doesn't make sense, that has me scratching my head. One other thing that I didn't like about the match, and this is just a preference, a taste of mine, and not necessarily have to do with the match itself. It was the ending. I felt this became more about that angle instead of letting Joe have his moment with the title. Because Joe, regardless of how he did it, he earned that moment. I felt like there could have been something a little bit more done where, like, at least give him that moment to celebrate with his title or walk off or talk his little trash before he takes off, and then they do the devil reveal. And now my thoughts are done.
Now you just gotta give a grade.
The grade was an A. I mean, like, I couldn't preference. It's all about preference in this match in terms of how it was executed. But for what it was, knowing the limitations that MJF was under and how they still managed to execute this match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It did its job. Okay.
Bleacher Report gives it an A-. I'll just disagree with 2 points you said, and everything else you guys mentioned, I'm right there with you. One, the Adam Cole giving a little hint with a smirk. I feel like I wouldn't do that. I wanted Adam Cole all the way until the lights went out to convince people that he is truly on MJF's side. And I thought they did do that. I wouldn't have even done the fucking fumble with the ring. Just give him the ring. Don't give anything. Just make it completely a surprise. Because this was you believing in your own gimmick or in your own storyline, and you're trying to kind of make fun of itself in a way. But if it was just solid here,
I feel you, except for the solid part, because I understand your opinion. But the only reason I say it was the solid part because if he hands him the ring and you're making it look realistic, he actually does give him a chance to win the match, which is not what he wanted. Like, say he gave him the ring straight away. Instead of, like, finding, like, the fumbling, whether I like it or not, it still makes sense because it's like, I can't get you the ring on time. I'm looking like I'm going to give it to you, but I give it to you just enough time for Joe to come up and sneak up. But if you would have given it to him straight away, he would have had time to put it on. He would have risked giving MJF the one thing that he wanted to deny.
Here's a thought. On Pedge's point, what if he did just not fumble with it and give him the ring? And what if he does nail Samoa Joe with it, and Samoa Joe either still kicks out or like almost even no-sells it in a way, like he hits him with the ring, Joe like goes down, gets right back up, now he's like bleeding. Or something like that. And now he's like super pissed. I think that helps your point in where it gives Joe more of a moment in the match. I don't know. Like, I think that kind of. I think this match has so many what ifs.
Yes.
So many what ifs.
There could have been a number of approaches to it.
Yeah, and like you said, it goes all the way back to. What if Punk never would have left?
Right.
What if, Adam Cole never got hurt? There's so many what ifs. I think they did the best with what they had.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They also, I'm sure they were aware that there's an obviousness to Adam Cole being the devil that they also had to get over and make sure that they did the reveal in such a way where it was still
a surprise.
acceptable.
Yeah.
My last point about this match, I think the person who benefited from this whole angle the most, besides Joe, because he won the title, Roderick Strong's character work throughout this whole thing was very enjoyable. It was very enjoyable. And I think Roderick Strong kind of inched up another level as far as like, I mean, clearly we all knew Roderick Strong as a great wrestler.
Yeah.
But this was the first time I ever seen Roderick Strong do real good character work. And I think his character benefited from it a lot. I mean, maybe even, I don't know how this would have ruined it, or like, I mean, obviously Adam Cole makes the most sense. If the Devil ended up being just Roderick Strong, I don't think I would have a lesser opinion about the outcome.
Yeah.
Because then you level up another player for, like you said, all these people are gone, leaving, hurt, whatever. Now you got Roderick Strong back in it. He's like, oh, my neck never hurt the whole time. Like, you know, all that kind of stuff. But again, so many what ifs in this match. And I think they did the best with everything that they were given and was taken away from them with this angle.
Yeah. Right. You want to respond about the Roderick Strong?
Roderick Strong, well, see, in retrospect, when you look back on it, this is for me, of course. In retrospect, it now makes sense. Watching it as it was transpiring, it kind of seemed a little campy to me, like almost WWE-ish, like Mae Young giving birth to a hand, kind of campy. But now, you know, the way that it was executed, like now that they've tied it up instead of whereas before I could only look at it piece by piece as it was going along. Now I see the whole puzzle. Now it makes sense. And as I said before, regardless of, you know, what my preference or my tastes are, if it makes sense, I can't be mad at it.
Yeah.
So now seeing everything in the full picture, I have a better understanding and a little bit more of appreciation for what Roderick Strong was doing throughout the angle.
Okay. Yeah. I like the Roderick Strong. I still, to a degree, I'm like, okay, it's Roderick Strong. It's like, to me, as far as the ring mishap, if he was straight with it, there's another way. I like what you said about Joe getting that moment of anger and winning anyway. But if they wanted to have a mishap and it wasn't so botchy, they could have just did a callback to when Adam Cole left the ring in the ring a month ago or a couple months ago, and then who was it who grabbed it? And it was
Jay White.
Jay White. It was in that Jay White match. Yeah. Was it Jay White who left that ring in there? No, it was Adam
Cole.
It was Adam Cole.
It was Adam because Cole, he dropped because he tried to initially hand it to him, and then he dropped. I think he dropped it, and he got a hold of it.
Right, but he left it in the ring, right? That's what I'm saying. So, I think if MJF was further from Adam and he just needed that, and Adam simply just tosses it to him, but he doesn't catch it, that I feel like could have been a.
Well, yeah. That the only issue that I had when you said straight away give it to him.
Right. I'm saying
I
this
didn't
will
mind
help
giving it to him. I'm saying instead of the fumble, like for example, another scenario, MJF could have been crawling for the ring,
right,
and inching over like how people do when they want to make a tag.
Yeah.
Adam Cole could have been trying to reach like this, but not really, and then. Before he grabs the ring, Joe comes in.
Yeah. No, all of these are valid, and these can all, again, these are now to go back to what actually happened. What ended up actually happening? I think it worked. The reveal was fine. And I also give it an A. And the one last thing we haven't talked about, if you need to get that, you can get that. Yeah.
Let's step out for a second.
Yeah. The final thing, the one thing we haven't talked about is the contract situation of MJF, because it was supposed to be 2024 where he would decide where he's going. He's mentioned it several times, heel or face. He's mentioned that, I might go up to New York or whatever. So we also don't know if he's going to be off TV just because he's hurt. Is he actually?
Well, I know I don't know if it's kayfabe or not. He's been removed from AEW's roster.
Oh.
Yeah, that's like a legit thing. You can look that up.
Wow.
He's been removed. People have been reporting that he's been removed from the roster. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are like, this is MJF keeping up with the story of his free agency.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I feel like it could either be like, I mean, obviously there's only two choices, but it's like, okay, so MJF hasn't signed a contract yet.
Yeah.
And he's going to take some time to rest and then negotiate a contract.
Yeah.
I think with everything that's happened, everything he's done, I think him as a person is heavily leaning towards AEW to resign. But obviously also money's money.
Yeah.
But also I think for him also creative direction is creative direction too.
Yeah.
So we don't want MJF I don't think anybody wants MJF going to WWE and getting lost.
Yeah, exactly.
In that shuffle at all.
Exactly.
And that's always the scary part. Obviously, it's less scary with Triple H in charge rather than Vince being in charge, but there's that. Also, there's the idea that he's already signed a contract. And this is all him keeping up with kayfabe, and maybe while he's hurt, they'll run that thing of him possibly negotiating or wanting to leave. Right. Because he has no friends in AEW now, or keeping up with that sort of story.
Yeah.
I guess we got to see how this unfolds.
We got to see. So I think so. I don't know if you heard, MJF's been removed from the AEW website and roster, and we were discussing, is that part of his whole 2024 campaign? Is he going to resign? Is he going to WWE? Is he going elsewhere? So there's a lot of intrigue with that. I think, like you, Keith, I think he's going to stay. And I think this is one of those deals where it would be detrimental for him to go to WWE at this point, because he's become the face of AEW. As a result of Punk leaving and as a result of everything that's happened, he's become...
I think if Vince was still in charge, they would sign MJF, and Vince would want him to go to NXT, and that would undo everything that MJF has done.
And I think MJF's too smart for that. But
you got a returning AJ Styles, you got a returning Randy Orton, you got a returning CM Punk, you got all these. WWE's kind of, they're not. I don't think they're clogged up. Yeah. But like, they've got a lot of names. Yeah. It would be easy for MJF to get lost in that pack. But also, like I said, there's the underlying part of me that thinks like MJF already signed a contract with AEW and they're just playing this out for story's sake. Yeah. So who knows? Yeah. And I think that's part of it that we don't know. Right. And, I think MJF's really good for his young age of like keeping those type of things tight-lipped. Yep. I
agree.
Obviously there's heavy, there could be, somebody could do some sleuthing and heavy research on it. Yeah. To figure it out. Yeah. But
it's almost more fun. Yeah. It's more fun not to.
Why do that?
Yeah.
Let's just watch it and see what happens. And them taking him, like removing his name from the AEW roster on the website and stuff is an interesting detail, whether it be kayfabe or not, in this story.
That's
I
right.
think.
The bottom line, and we'll wrap up this episode, as I know we've gone. We did a whole pay-per-view to do a pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, this was a all elite pay-per-view length
right podcast.
podcast.
But it was intriguing the whole time. I gotta say, I've been in. We all have made great points. Thank you for coming on. Obviously,
I apologize that I'm such a talker.
no. You made great points, and it fed itself. It was good. I was just gonna say this. The bottom line at the end of the day is, before it escapes my mind, is what we're gonna keep wanting to watch it now because of what's happening. It was a great way to end it, and I think this storyline of the devil and everything with MJF, this was the one that you can see AEW cares about the most, and you saw it in the writing, you saw it in the reveals, you saw it in the details, like the removal of his name. Like, they're paying attention to every step of this angle and this story. So yeah, so comment, thank you for watching this episode. Let us know what your thoughts are, where you think it's going, where MJF is going, what the devil reveal, what you thought of that, the whole pay-per-view as a whole. Any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Not really. I think we've
covered
just about everything.
That's right. I think we have. We have. Keith, do you want to plug away your socials and where people can follow you and find where you're at?
You can find me. My name is Keith Evans. You can find me Evans from the Heavens on every platform. I post content, show updates, all of that. I think there's some things going on where, like, my shows will be influxed this year, so I'm hoping for that.
Good.
Hoping for some exciting things for that. So just keep in contact, and you can see all that shit unfold.
Absolutely. Very cool. Man of the 3 hours, Keith Evans. My man Weapon X, give him a follow, Weapon X MC. I'm Pej Maniac on Instagram and everywhere else. And this is Legend of Wrestling Podcast, episode 8, The World's End. Happy New Year to everyone, and let's see where AEW is headed.
You suck, Underjoy. You suck, Fabulous Moolah. You suck, Jim Roberts. You suck.